That's only when I really pay attention to the dates.
All right, I'm recording, but
Okay.
it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It means we started. Because, so on my, I should have said that before I started recording. So I have my regular YouTube channel. It's just my first and last name on my Gmail account.
What is your first and last name?
Sretton Jovanovic. I'll write it all out for you. And I'll get your number too, and I'll just text you the link once. So what I'm going to do, I had a problem with it with the first thing we recorded.
Okay.
And I decided not to put it on my YouTube channel.
Right.
But tonight I'm going to put it on there, and it's just going to be exactly what we're talking about right now. There won't be any music. Like, there won't be shit edited. There won't be. It's just going to be exactly what we record tonight.
Okay.
So what you guys need to do when you have a chance, listen to it.
Right, like last time.
See what you sound like.
Yourself.
Yeah. See what you sound like. See what you like. See what your tendencies are. Mine are and also not getting to the point.
My wife made a point to tell me that, like, when I anytime I storytell, you'll hear 6 stories in one. And
me too.
Yeah. So
Blame it on my ADD.
you October birthday by any chance?
Nah, man.
Oh.
Are you a Taurus?
Yeah.
Me too.
This is a well-honed ADD machine.
Oh,
I've worked on this for years.
See, I was thinking about that too. Attention deficit podcast.
Oh. We just be all over. We just be all over.
So what's the tentative name?
RNR Free Thinkers is
Yeah.
what I think the official
Riley
is.
Romero.
Riley Romero.
RNR Free Thinkers.
And
podcast.
that's RNR. R&R is
Is that taken?
it's a bed and breakfast, I believe.
R&R.
in like Michigan or
Right.
possibly London. I don't know. There was a few R and R's, and then you also got the railroad. So we don't want to.
The railroads.
We don't want to fuck with the railroad.
Since you said R&R, Vince, let's start with the beer discussion. Let's start with that.
Well, okay. So recently this week, give me 1 second to pull it up. I came across a list. I'm a craft beer drinker, and I like all beers of all kind. But every now and then, hate to call it what it is, but you get that turd beer, that turd brew.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that something you enjoy?
no, absolutely not.
Okay.
So drinkwireliquor.com just posted a, I guess you call it a survey, and they rated the 20 worst beers sold in America. And I think, and I'm almost positive they're all actually American beers.
Okay.
And so I want to go through the list here real quick. And all right, you guys feel free to interrupt at any time.
I will.
I'm gonna throw my pen if you say something I like.
We talked about it earlier. I actually read Joey.
I'm not that
earlier.
passionate. I'm not that passionate about my beer. You name something and I like it. That's fine.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know who wrote that.
I
don't know that guy.
Who is that guy?
I named the list earlier, and me and Joe both actually, when we heard one, we were like, "Dude, seriously? We like that brew, dude.
I'm going to stick up for someone.
Number 20, Ice House Light, and that just speaks for itself.
That's garbage. That's garbage beer. We used to always call it Outhouse.
We call it Ass House.
You know what you guys are? You guys are fucking up our future like sponsorship. Because I was gonna reach out to Ice House. Is Milwaukee's best ice on there?
There's a lot of
there's a couple
just
like Milwaukee's. Let me just all right. Budweiser, Chelada.
Yeah,
whatever.
See, we were talking about that.
That's the one with like the tomato juice in it.
Yeah, it's Bud Light with tomato juice.
Michelada?
It's just Chelada, just Budweiser Chelada.
There's that Mexican thing that they take a beer. They take a beer and then put some kind of like crushed pepper, salt.
They
stuff
do that
on
in
it,
Mexico. I was just in Mexico.
And a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
They love. I don't like it, but people love it.
Heartburn in a bottle is what that is.
Sorry, I thought maybe it was like tomato juice in a beer.
Yeah, I was just in Mexico and they did that because I had no idea. So all the locals were doing that. They had like a spice and a bunch of salt, and they were putting it inside their beer. Like there was an option there. Like whenever they would serve the beer, there was that on the table. So that's what Bud Light was trying to do, but Americans weren't having it.
Yeah, well, there's actually I believe that Budweiser Chelada shows up again in the light form later in the list. No, spoiler alert. Labatt Sterling is number 18. I don't know. I think that's probably Canadian, right?
Labatt Blue.
Yeah. Okay, so
I love Labatt Blue, but I don't.
Here's the one that offended me and Joey.
Right.
Old English 800.
I don't think I've ever had that.
Oh, shame
you never
on
had
you.
Old E. Oh,
you've never
see,
had
there was
it?
the 1600, but the 800 was, I think, the light, and
that was my first beer I ever drank.
Mine was a laser beer.
When's the last time you had one of those?
An Old E?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably a year ago.
No, no, it's been well over a decade for me.
Really?
It was in a 40-ounce bottle.
It's always in a 40, and we were upset, my friends and I, because it always came in the classic glass 40 ounce, but they switched it up into like a plastic, so it's shatterproof, and we were upset about it. But that's my favorite. And you know who brews that is Miller Coors, because when I went to the Miller Coors brewery, all kinds of different beers were there, and Old English was one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, they brew that. So Old English is definitely a urban classic.
But let me ask you, have you had the number 16 on the worst beers in America
What's that?
list? Beer 30 Light.
No.
Okay, I will tell you this. Wife bought a 12-pack of Beer 30 Light years ago. They had it, and it was I had a buddy who worked at a liquor store, and we went in there, and she was like, "What's the worst beer you have?" And he just pointed at it, and she grabbed it, and I don't know that we finished it, but we both tried a couple cans, and they were, yeah.
Was it awful? Yeah.
It's called Beer 30. Busch Light, Busch Ice.
I like Busch Light, actually.
Okay.
I don't know why. If it's cold, I really like Busch Light.
This
Doesn't
one
give me a
surprised
hangover.
me.
It goes down easy.
This one surprised me. Number 13, Bud Light.
Yeah,
I
I'm
like
really
Bud Light, too.
surprised.
Probably one of the most popular, probably the most sold beer
I think
in
it
the
is the
country.
most popular one.
Yeah.
It's my favorite light beer out of all the Coors Light, Miller Light. I'll definitely take a Bud Light all day. I don't know why that's on there.
Likewise.
Likewise.
Well, yeah.
Who wrote this?
Liquor.com. I don't know the name. I can scroll up to the top.
I'm joking.
after the
I was
list.
if it
I
had
wonder
a
if
name,
there was
if it
a
had a name, I
vote.
was gonna cuss his name.
yeah.
Okay.
Leave Bud Light alone.
Keystone Premium is 12. Keystone Light is 11.
Those are rough.
College beers.
Yeah, for sure. Those are definitely college beers, along with a few of the other ones coming up here. And then remember the Budweiser Chelada?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got Bud Light Chelada, so there's that again.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one that me
Probably
and Joe...
tastes like ketchup water. milky ketchup water.
Oh, dude, stop.
Strawberry
Wait,
shortcake.
I gotta wash that out.
Gotta
with
wash
some
that
LaCroix.
down with some pamplemousse. Team Pamp. Go ahead.
Where was I at? Oh, and this is the one that drew the most conversation from Joe and I. Listen to this. This is a mouthful. Miller Genuine Draft Light 64. Which is funny to us because we were like, we have MGD and then Miller Light and then MGD 64, so I thought MGD 64 was Miller Light. And so you have Miller Genuine Draft Light 64. So it's Miller, so that's basically Miller Genuine Draft Light.
Yeah, the requirements are a shitty mullet, 5 o'clock shadow, and a off-center goatee. If you show up with that.
I mean, and basically all that lightness just...
I know someone that drinks that. He's related to me, but I won't name drop him.
Did he look like what you just described?
No comment. No comment. I plead the fifth.
So basically all that lightness gets you as a number 9 spot on the worst beers in America. 8, Milwaukee's Best, Light. Number 7, Budweiser Select, 55. I thought they stopped making
That's
that.
a soccer mom beer right there. That's a soccer mom that's speed walking with little mini weights.
I can see how this podcast is going to go in the future. just Joe just slanging descriptions of people that just
that's what I think mentally.
Yeah, in his head, like I told you. Here's one, Camo Genuine Ale, and there's a little footnote next to all these beers, and this one says people only drink this for the 8.6 ABV.
That's white trash special right there.
Camo, like camouflage?
Yeah, CAMO, Camo Genuine Ale.
Never
heard of it. Oh.
Never.
Michelob Ultra. We knew a guy
Oh yeah.
used to drink that.
Yeah, if you're watching your calories when you're drinking beer, you have a problem. That's just my opinion.
I mean, I've been known to put down a few High Life lights.
Right. I mean, I do drink light beer during the summer, but if I'm trying to watch my figure, I'll do vodka and waters. I mean, but that's just me.
Yep.
Because with beer, you're gonna get empty calories for sure, no matter what. So let's go hard in the paint. Let's split. Let's split a Guinness, or let's get a 6-pack of Guinness.
So you won't do Miller Genuine Draft
Ultra
Ice,
Light?
Ultra Light Ice?
No, I'm
Light?
going to stay away from that and let people with off-center goatees.
Did I say Milwaukee's Best Premium? Milwaukee's Best Premium is number 4. Number 3, another one me and Joe never heard of. Maybe you've heard of it. Sleeman Clear?
No.
Sleeman, Sleeman, Clear.
That's terrible.
That sounds awful.
Described as clean and refreshing, but we think it's more along the lines of bland and boring. Okay. Number 2, Natty Ice.
Yeah, that's a nasty college beer.
Natural ice. And we talked about this for like 30 seconds earlier. What would we say? If you're at a party and like down in college, like you really don't know what's in the keg. And if you don't know what's in the keg, there's a better than good chance
It's Natty Ice. That's a big college beer.
Yeah.
Big, tall can.
And the number one worst beer sold in the country.
Is it?
Natural Light.
Natural Light.
So it's Natty Ice, but just...
Natty Ice Light?
Yeah. Well, it just says Natural Light, I
Okay.
don't know if that's what that's all about. But, yeah.
What do you think? What's something on there that should be on there?
Well, we were going to ask you that because we talked earlier. I thought for sure when I saw the headline 20 worst beers, there was a few that I've drank that I kind of like, but I feel like when somebody sees you drinking one, they're like, "Oh God, that guy sucks at life.
Right.
Look at that guy, man.
Right.
That guy's over there drinking a Little King, dude. Like, I
Little
mean,
Kings, yes. I remember Little Kings.
The grenades,
Mickey's.
Oh,
Coors Miller makes that too. They made Old English 800, or they make it now, and Mickey's. They brew both of those malt liquors.
Was Old E the only malt liquor on there? Like, I'm not sure. Like,
Yeah, that was the only on your list.
I think the rest were just all like pilsners, like just like really
light
bad
pilsners.
They're usually bad pilsners. That's how you know those beer people are snobs.
That's right,
Yeah.
beer snobs.
It's like if it doesn't have if it's not
Hops.
an IPA, I'm
If
not.
it doesn't
Yeah.
taste like an armpit, I ain't down.
Right.
My wife says palm olive. She's like, every time she tries an IPA, she's like, "Oh God, it's palm olive. Get it out of my face."
I'm kind of over the IPA thing. I really am.
I'm done with the IPA.
You know, I was never really into it 100%, but there are some that I enjoy, but I'm just kind of over it. I've always been more of a lager guy, stout, ale, you know.
I like the IPAs. I like all the beers. I used to, when I first started drinking beer, I liked stouts. Now I don't like them as much. It's too much now. I can't.
Too
I
heavy.
don't. There's not like a. Like I stopped a couple days yesterday. I stopped and I haven't had a piece of chocolate cake. Didn't like. I'm a big dude, but like I haven't had a piece of cake in forever, in like a year or two. Not for any particular reason. I just don't eat cake.
Right.
And I went over to the new Off Square in Crown Point. Their
How's
beers are really good.
Okay.
I like them. Their food.
Okay.
I don't want to say, but
Hey, well, we might want you talk about sponsorship earlier. Like, I mean, come on. I mean,
the beer's solid, man.
Is
beer's
it?
solid.
Yeah,
Okay.
beer's solid. Food.
Speaking of Crown Point, I've had Crown Brewery's Brown Ale.
It's a
That
dope
was
beer.
really good.
Dope
It was
beer.
like a Newcastle.
Crown
It
Brewing.
is,
No,
it's good.
no comment.
No comment.
Oh, no comment. Ooh.
Ooh.
I was gonna ask those people to come on the show.
Don't ruffle any
They
feathers.
can. No comment.
Yeah, I don't know
Well,
what
the
they're about.
the brewmaster. Well, it's just. I mean, you go in there. They're nice people in there. It's
Beer
every now and
snobby.
then. Perhaps not as bad as the Floyds though.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Floyds are the worst. Like when you talk
They
about
have
beer snobs.
their beer's so good, but Three Floyds.
See, all their beers
Yeah, they're
taste
jerks.
the same. They all
You
put
think
the,
so?
They put the same hops in all their beers
I
for the
like-
most part.
Yeah.
And so, like, whether you're drinking an IPA or even their wheat beer, Gumball Head, their most popular
Yeah.
beer, the Gumball Head.
Zombie Dust too, obviously.
Yeah, well, Zombie Dust is an APA, like
Is that what it is?
American Pale Ale versus
Okay.
India Pale Ale. But Gumball Head is a wheat beer, and it tastes just like a regular IPA.
It does. They
It tastes
all
like
have
an
their
IPA. It's
yeah.
that signature hop, and it's in every beer. Even the Dark Lord, it tastes like you could still taste that.
Really? See,
specific
I've never
hop.
had Dark Lord.
It's a Russian Imperial Stout.
I love
so
Russian
it's,
Imperial
so it's
stouts.
gnarly, but I
It's
mean,
too much for me.
Is
It
it?
is.
It's too much for
My
me.
favorite one is Nosferatu, like the vampire, like
No,
the first
I know
movie
who
ever.
Nosferatu
Great
is.
Lakes makes it, and it's very, very good. Great Lakes is from Cleveland. You know, I'm a big Great Lakes fanboy,
Yeah.
but they've
You gave
been
me-
around.
What was the one you gave me on the way up to our whiskey workshop we went to? Was it
Oh wow, that was a while ago.
Elliot Ness?
Was it Elliot Ness?
That
Yeah,
was a
that's
good
their
beer.
regular lager, I think. But yeah, I love Great Lakes. You cannot purchase Great Lakes in Lake County or Porter County for some reason because a distributor, I don't know if it's North Coast or who it is, but they will not distribute in Lake County. So you have to go to LaPorte County to get it, or I would go to obviously Chicago or across state line. You could get it there. But I love Great Lakes. I love it, love it, love it.
I've had one beer made by Great Lakes, and it was with this guy, and I thought it was delicious. But then, like he said, you got to put effort into it, you know, to
to
come
go
over
find
to
it.
find
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of the place in Chicago called the Beer Temple?
No.
No.
when you get home, look it up if you're that into like beers. Thing is, I think North Louisiana is like pretty awesome for craft brew.
They are.
And Chicago's got more like you kind of anywhere. I love the craft beer.
We got Michigan
craze.
Yeah.
Like it probably is oversaturated. I don't care.
Right,
I'd much rather
right.
go have a beer outside somewhere because somebody decided to make a patio outside, or you could sit outside
I agree.
and chill. No knock against Applebee's, whatever, but I'd much rather hang out at one of those
I hate
spots and go to Applebee's.
I hate Applebee's with a bloody passion.
But you know, I like them because we don't have to have
Applebee's
mom
or
and
the
pop like
breweries?
oh I don't know what the hell I just said. But the like mom and pop places like taco shops, burger places, hot dog places. There's not a lot of like particular restaurants, and I think it's all chains, or at least around here.
Yeah, it's good for independent.
Yeah, it's just a lot of different, and you could taste a bunch of things. You could you could have conversations about it too. There's a lot of people that take the fun out of the like drinking beers.
Yeah, the
like they'll be like,
snobs.
ooh, like you know, maybe they can taste the differences between hops. Like, oh, this is a North American hops. I don't get near North American hops.
Yeah.
Shut up.
beer
Yeah.
I mean,
With
I don't
your
know.
schnapps.
If it's what you like, it's what you like. But that beer temple that dude has a crazy selection of beer, and he's like obsessive about the freshness. And they just moved locations, so they have a bunch on tap. And he has a particular way. He's one of those guys that borderline takes the fun out of things.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
but if you
Drinking's
want to have
supposed
a
to be
crazy
fun.
selection,
Well, if it's only
he's super
borderline,
nice.
then yeah.
He's super nice and fully aware and like right there on Front Street about like, hey man, some people don't like the way I overanalyze my beers, but I have a ton of beers and it's always fresh. And yeah, that's my plug for the beer temple in the city.
What neighborhood is it in Chicago? Do you know what area?
I want to say it's close to Pilsen, but I'm not entirely
Okay.
sure.
Okay, so South Side?
It's like southwest
Southwest.
side, but not in a bad neighborhood.
Okay.
It's I don't know. You got to Google it. I'm
Okay.
probably saying it the absolutely wrong thing.
I like in Chicago, there's certain bars that have their own beer, like Local Option I'm a big fan of. I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but it's a really cool bar and they have really good beer. You know, so they brew their own and then it's all on tap. They have other things too, but they brew their own beer.
Have you
It's
guys
a
been
really
to
good bar.
95.85 in St. John?
No.
It's like in a little mini industrial district in St. John, and
cool.
they have their one IPA called High Five, I think, and then the rest of it's guest beer.
Of course, it's an IPA.
Yeah,
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
It's all my favorite brewery. Like that just puts out great beers. Is Founders in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I like
I want to go up
Founders.
there.
Have you ever? Okay, I have been up there in a few years. Not since they redid it and everything, but they've been up to a couple parties up there, like Founders Fest. They had this thing called Black Party, which it sounds racist, but it's not. It's just all their black beers on tap,
Okay.
like all their stouts, all their porters, they even have black IPA and it's just you go up there and you just go. It's like from 11 to like 2 in the morning, and it's just you get a hotel room because you're not driving home from that, and I've actually gotten like a Twitter thing with whoever runs their Twitter page, because
You rebel.
yeah, I know. They introduced us new beer after new beer after new beer, and it's always some kind. It's like, here's a rye IPA, here's a double IPA, here's a black IPA, here's a specific type of hops, triple IPA. And so they had this new beer, I forget what it was, and they just like showed the bottle, and I saw the name of it, and I didn't even look to see because they put what type of beer is on the bottle usually. I just tweeted, and I was like, let me guess, your 15th different kind of IPA of the year. And then like whoever it was, I get a picture of them like mean tweeting me. They were just like, actually, it's a rye. And I was just like, oh, well, bully for you,
Right.
I'd like to go to Grand Rapids for like a weekend. Do exactly what you said. Just walk around, drink some beers.
Grand
and go sleep
Rapids
at
is
a hotel
neat.
room.
The last time I was there, I went to the Orbit Room for a show. It was in 2010. It was right when the Deftones released Diamond Eyes.
How did I know it was Deftones? That's
'Cause
the
I'm a
only band
fanboy.
That's the only
I'm a
That's the only
fanboy.
band you'll travel for.
I've traveled very, very
You're a
far.
Deftones guy?
I love Deftones.
I had an old roommate that still to this day is obsessed with Deftones.
I still am too.
He's-
I've been obsessed since I was like 15. I can't stop.
He's got a Deftones
We're-
shirt on right
We're
now.
gonna get into that, Joe.
All right. I'm chomping at the bit. But yeah, the Orbit Room was cool. And we went to Founders. Shout out to the Orbit Room. It's like going to Lowe's, the old school Lowe's Theater on Route 30. It was like that kind of setup. They had carpet on the floor. We didn't know what to expect. And we're like, what? It's like in a mini mall? And it was just loud and awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
well-
all I got on the beers.
Okay.
Other than
However you
so,
wanna- yeah.
I think just the thing that a lot of people are going to be talking about for like weeks to come here, the big debate. Well, not so much debate. It was pretty. I mean, he lost.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all it was.
You're gonna go to the fight. Yeah,
we are.
let's go to
We're
the fight.
going to do it. We're going to go to the fight. Just
Conor
a minute.
McGregor versus Mayweather.
Just a minute on the fight. Me and
Okay.
Joe watched it together. We
You
had
can take your time.
Okay.
The tape doesn't run out.
Okay.
No, I understand. We just don't want to be those guys.
Yeah.
like,
Everybody's those guys right now.
everybody's those guys right now.
Right
Yeah.
now.
Nobody cared. Even 2-3 weeks ago, nobody cared. Everybody's like, we know it's going to happen, but the powers that be all hyped that fight, so we all got real interested. I know I did,
We did.
We did.
and
I
I didn't
haven't
end up
watched it.
watching it, but I really wanted to.
I think it was great for boxing though, because I've always been into boxing more than MMA. So it was neat for the sport of boxing to have Conor, which I tip my hat that he jumped ship and he tried a different professional sport. And I thought that it was hype, but he did a great job.
That's what they said. They said it was actually a good fight.
It was.
Was.
There was a couple times, just real quick, there was a couple times before the TKO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I thought that Floyd could have just really knocked him out.
I thought in the round, he went down in the 10th, or they
Right.
stopped the fight in the 10th. At the end of the ninth, he had about a minute left. And I think even one of the guys, the announcer guys, said, "Oh, Connor's looking up at the clock. He ain't gonna make
shady.
it."
That was just weird. Like,
So, rewind real quick.
Yeah.
Run down what happened real quick.
Okay, from now, everybody's eyes are different apparently because I've heard people talk about it for the last 2 days. But McGregor came out strong and was doing his little tap thing. He's left-handed, so. He didn't throw that left for a while, and not really throw it hard. And at some point in the middle of the fight, probably around the 6th round, Mayweather just started to dominate when McGregor started to
Right.
feel fatigued. Now, after I left you, Joe, and was listening to it on the radio on the way home, some radio guy, some sports guy's analysis. He read the scorecards from the actual judges of the fight, and they only gave 2 of the judges only gave McGregor
couple
one round,
rounds.
one round.
no way.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I said, and then when they showed the unofficial score while we were watching it, they gave McGregor the first 3 rounds, and Mayweather the second 3 rounds. And I thought he lost. There's nothing you can say about it. He lost. The ref stopped the fight. He needed to stop the fight because Mayweather wasn't going to stop. I mean,
Right.
but
So by the end, he was picking him apart, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
that
Playing
was
with
that
him.
was Mayweather's game plan, and I saw it right in the beginning because if you remember, I was like, he's going to wear him out. He's going to wear him out. So he just let Conor somewhat unload and do his thing, and then he just ran out of steam towards the end of the fight. I mean, Conor could barely even walk. Remember? I mean, he was
No.
kind of all over the place. So that was a good game plan. I mean, you got to tip your hat to Mayweather and his whole team. But
When I heard the boxers analyze, they talk about, because before this fight, Mayweather was 49-0, so he's 50 now. 50-0, if you count this as one of his fights. And
he
they
didn't
said that
walk
he was,
through it, so
No.
Yeah, they said that he was
going.
going to. They said that they thought he was going to do that because he does do that, and a lot of the great boxers they'll let
No.
you. How did they say it? How did one guy phrase it? They said that they take about 2 rounds and let him do his thing, and then every punch he hits, he gets to see how far his reach is, how everything downloads all into that Mayweather computer, and then does his thing, the following rounds. And it seems like from what people are saying, what you guys are saying, that's exactly what he did. Except he also
what
tired him
did.
out.
He tired him out. I mean, even Conor admitted, he's like, even with my regular MMA fights, I don't know what it is. I get the wobbly legs. He doesn't know if it's a conditioning thing, but there's been fights in the past, I think, against Diaz, where he was just stumbly and wobbly. But at any rate, it was a good fight. It was entertaining. Was it overpriced? Maybe, but everything's $100 nowadays for entertainment. So
Not LaCroix.
not LaCroix.
Not LaCroix.
That's a cheap good time.
That is a great.
Where could I
time.
buy a case of LaCroix, guys?
Anywhere.
Anywhere sodas and beverages are sold. Anyway, we probably should have done this from the beginning. I'm Vince Romero. That over there is Joe Riley, and our producer is.
My name's Sretan Jovanovic.
There it is.
At
And
the Green Door in Hobart. Please come here and check it out.
great books.
Great
Got,
books, used books for sale.
This is the Vince's mom section right here.
A lot of romance novels?
No, the John Grisham section.
Oh,
like, all
okay.
the John Grishams. My mother, she's probably read every single one of those. Some of them twice.
John
probably.
Grisham.
She was a big John Grisham fan.
All right, let's move on to music here real quick. Today I was looking up some history, some historical facts, and I found it pretty interesting that yesterday, on the 27th of August, Pearl Jam's first album, 10, was released. And I thought it was pretty weird because, I don't know, that was a long time ago, but he's the only grunge lead singer that's still alive out of the Big Five. And when I say the Big Five, I mean Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. And I just think that's such a bummer that all those other lead singers have passed away.
That's a crazy fact.
Right?
That's crazy.
He told me that today when we were doing our little pre-game rundown here, and it one, it made me feel like 100 years old,
Right?
and two, depression is what took all of them, right?
All of them.
in this essentially,
Right.
depression is what took all of them for the most. Drug use played a big part in some of them, but actually probably all of them. I know if you want to, Cornell was a boozer, right?
Yeah, but he had his problems with heroin too, I believe, like at some point, and then he was a pill guy too. But at any rate, it's a really, really sad fact. I don't want to be a buzzkill.
Did any of them make it past 55?
No.
Obviously, the youngest one was Kurt.
Right, he died at 27, and then you know what? Well, here's another weird fact: Lane and Kurt died on the same day. Lane Staley from Alice in Chains.
How many years apart?
Kurt died in 1994. Lane died in 2002. So, but they died on the same day.
That is two facts that one I didn't think about, but I knew. The other one I never realized.
And what I'm getting at is with Pearl Jam, out of all the grunge bands, in my opinion, they were my least favorite. I really enjoyed the first 3 albums, all the way up to Vitology. And I think they're great musicians, but they were my least favorite. Who was your favorite out of the grunge, the Big Five we're talking about?
Soundgarden, no doubt. Okay. Soundgarden, then Alice in Chains, and then probably Nirvana, then Stone Temple Pilots, and then
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam. Yeah, I'm with you. On 10, the song Once, I know I was singing it in the truck earlier. You didn't remember it, but it was that was my favorite Pearl Jam song off 10, and I don't think I liked verses at all. And then they had a couple tracks on Vitology that I liked. I really liked Corduroy. You know what? I think Go, the song Go.
I like Vitology a lot. I liked it a lot. But I would say my favorite was Nirvana first and foremost. They're a huge influence on musically and in my regular life. And then Alice in Chains, number 2. I would say STP 3, Soundgarden 4, and Pearl Jam last. Did you get to see any of those bands? I was able to see Soundgarden at the Riviera like 2 or 3 years ago. Probably 3 years ago. Have you ever seen any of the grunge bands?
Yeah, one.
And I got to see Alice in Chains as well in 2010 on the Black Diamond Sky tour with Deftones, Mastodon, and Alice in Chains, and that was cool. Lane wasn't there, obviously, but Jerry Cantrell's amazing live.
I saw Jerry Cantrell open up for Metallica in 1998. It was Jerry Cantrell.
Was it a solo, the Boogie Depot?
It was at the Winnebago County Fairgrounds in Rockford, Illinois. It was Jerry Cantrell, Days of the New. Remember Days of the New?
I remember Days of the New. I think they play at your local county fair now. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Well, no, not. I will say it was funny about Days of the New. He might have been the only singer in history, like that started off in a band to fire his band.
Yeah,
his name was Travis Meeks, right? Yeah,
they're
Travis
garbage.
Meeks, and an acoustic like hard rock band. It was just
right.
weird. But I saw Jerry Cantrell and I saw Stone Temple Pilots also open up for Metallica.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen Metallica 3 times, and 2 of the times I've seen them, Jerry Cantrell and STP.
I had a chance to see STP. They were at the Riviera. My cousin Ian had an extra ticket, but I had to work. and I wasn't able to catch him, and I really regret that because I really like Scott Weiland. Are you a Scott Weiland fan? STP?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Who's your favorite out of those 5?
I would say Soundgarden too.
Okay.
I would put Nirvana in second place only because I feel I at that time they were the most mainstream, I guess, and I wasn't terribly curious about like how to get my music, so that was on the radio all the time. They were on the radio constantly. The other bands were too, but for me it was like a lot of Nirvana.
I definitely think Nirvana and Pearl Jam had the most airtime out of all those bands.
Oh yeah.
Radio wise, but yeah, Soundgarden for me, Soundgarden, and yeah, when the day that I woke up and saw on the news, Chris Cornell.
I was really surprised about that one.
I'm gonna call timeout real quick.
Okay.
Sorry.
But you were saying, who was your number one? Soundgarden, Nirvana 2?
Soundgarden's my number one. What's crazy is when Soundgarden fully hit, I have a brother. My brother is 7 years younger than me, so he was like 10. And still, he wasn't even 10. I think he was like 7 or 8. Hardcore Soundgarden fan. And even at that age, he was way cooler with his musical taste than I was.
Wow.
So I kind of piggybacking off of like,
wow.
I was like,
my
little brother is into Soundgarden. I was actually at that time like into Pantera and stuff. So,
like 94.
Yeah, anything that was like just awful loud and fast, and that's what I was into. But yeah, he was big, and I remember, I don't know what summer it was. Maybe you guys know better. 94. Whenever summer it was that Soundgarden actually broke up.
Black Holes. Oh,
they broke up.
When they broke up.
That was late 90s.
Yeah,
because,
like 97, 98.
Because Down on the Upside was like, what, 97?
Yeah, they broke up like 97,
Either
98.
way, I think my brother was like 12 or 13. Devastated.
Was he?
Well, I mean,
not because he got broken
Right.
up with, not because he had like his first girlfriend, she broke his heart, or
Soundgarden
he was
broke up.
playing soccer and he had a
Yeah.
bad game. He was Soundgarden broke up. He's like, what am I gonna do?
Here's a weird fact about Soundgarden. A lot of people might not know. They were signed to SST Records, and that record label was started by Greg Ginn from Black Flag, the guitarist. So their first album, I don't remember the name, that was actually on SST Records, and they were out before Nirvana.
it was Bad Motorfinger, wasn't it?
I think it was Ultra Mega OK.
Oh, it was Ultra Mega OK, then Bad Motorfinger.
Right, that was on SST, and SST was just like...
You said Ginn. I've always
Greg
heard
Ginn.
I've heard
Greg
Ginn.
Yeah. Greg Ginn.
Great guitar player.
Yeah, I
yeah.
love him. He's one of my
One of my favorites as well.
But
yeah.
I thought that was weird because they're from Seattle, and they weren't really grunge. That first album's kind of like
that was metal.
Like metal post-wave punk or something. It was out there with
Ultra Mega
Soundgarden,
OK.
right?
Yeah, their first album, and
I listened to an interview with Cornell that he did with Mark Maron on his podcast, and he was talking about that too. That they were considered to be part of that group that started the whole grunge, but he was making the point like we weren't grunge.
They weren't.
No, the thing is,
he said, "What's the band?" I'll come back to it. Keep talking. I'm going to remember the band.
They were probably the oldest.
They were the oldest
of all the people that were doing grunge when grunge was there, because they had been a band for the longest time, like 84 or something like weird like that, maybe 84, 85.
I don't know.
And then there's lots of stuff like that. When we look back on like the 80s, like people didn't know about Faith No More until like 1989, but they formed in like 82 or 83. Right.
But another thing too, we're saying that wasn't, their early stuff wasn't grunge.
No, it was.
You could say the same thing about Alice in Chains. I think they had a really big heavy metal sound to them.
Yeah.
Especially early stuff. And I'm a huge, they're number 2 on my list. Nirvana's number 1, and then Alice in Chains is number 2. And I think Lane, I liked his singing style better than Cornell. And a lot of people would argue that.
I would.
But I just
most assuredly.
I like his vocals better.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's definitely one of history's best.
Let me put it this way: if Lane was still alive, he probably wouldn't have done a track with what's his name? He worked with Justin Timbaland. Chris Cornell did a song with Timbaland.
He makes those fat beats.
That's pretty bad. I mean, if you want to make money, that I get it, but that's pretty bad.
Yeah, well,
but I love Chris Cornell, but I don't think Kurt or Lane would do that. I'm just throwing that out there.
I would probably have to concur on that.
Okay.
See, I didn't know. I mean, Chris Cornell's kind of been quiet for a while after Audio Slave, which another one of my favorite bands. Not Audio Slave, but Rage, and then like how your little brother felt when
Soundgarden broke up.
I had tickets to the Rhyme and Reason tour, which it was like a 2000.
Was that with Wu-Tang?
No, it was Beastie Boys, which I not a big fan of, but it was Beastie Boys, A Rage Against the Machine, and one of the I think it's the Dead one, but one of the, I was going to say something bad, but one of the Beastie Boys broke their collarbone.
Oh, okay.
Like while they were on tour, like he was like riding a bike and broke his collarbone, and they canceled the rest of the tour, and then 6 months later, Rage broke up, and I never got to see him.
All right.
I saw Audio Slave.
Okay.
But I never got to see. I saw Audio Slave with Incubus back in like 2003, 2004.
But Soundgarden's your favorite, and Chris Cornell's your favorite out of the whole
Out of the
era.
grunge, absolutely.
Now, with his suicide, I was really surprised. I thought first it was going to be an OD, an overdose of some sort. And ironically, my cousin, he was living in Detroit for a while, and his best friend still lives in Detroit, and he was at that show the night before. So he took a picture of it and sent, a picture of the show and sent it to my cousin because I was like, dude, did you hear Chris Cornell died? And he's like, yeah, Loey was there. I'm like, what? And he sent me the picture, and it was crazy. So then I went on YouTube to see live footage to see if he was acting odd. And he was saying some weird stuff in between songs. Like, I don't remember verbatim what he was saying, but you can tell something was up. And, it's a total bummer.
Yeah, it is.
He was a great singer, and with the mental health aspect, I don't know what was going on. Obviously, none of us do, but it was a bummer with him.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one coming. I didn't really like. And then if you look back and listen to old Soundgarden songs, like a lot of them are dark and they're about like suicide. There's a song called like Suicide, and like you start digging into it after the fact, and it's like, wow, like
Pretty Noose.
Yeah.
Probably, ironically, probably one of my favorites.
Right? It's like, wow. And a shout out to them, to Soundgarden and Kim Thale. Is that how you say his last name?
Thale?
Kim Thale?
Yeah.
He's actually from like Oak Brook or the Chicago suburbs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is. But at any rate, the song 4th of July, I think it's on Super Unknown.
Yeah, it is.
That
Great
guitar tone and the tuning and the sound of that, like, there's a lot of people into doom metal right now, so if anybody that's listening to this that's into doom metal and low tuning, like that song set the standard. It set the standard because that guitar tone is awesome.
I wonder what tuning that's in.
It's like in Q, dude. it is so
Drop
low.
Omega.
Yeah. It is low, but it is an amazing guitar tone.
Actually,
while
while we continue to chat, I'm gonna just. Like, I wonder if it's like probably like drop C or something like that.
It's drop C, but like it could be like 3 steps down. Like it's goofy low, but I don't know if you remember that song. It's a great song. So if people out there really like doom metal and all those low tunings and the chug-a-lug, of the guitar, that's a good place to start.
4th of July by
what is that tune
by
to?
Soundgarden. I'm gonna CFCGBE. That's like
drop C.
Well, that's a CGC is drop C.
Okay.
I don't know. It's weird. That's a weird tuning, but yeah, it's definitely like bar chord on the top two strings. That's
it's super low,
gnarly.
Yeah, and it's a great song. I like, when he passed away, I was like, I just kept listening to that song that particular day because it's.
Are you guys hearing my phone chime in the microphone?
No.
Okay, I'm hearing it right in front of me.
Okay,
I apologize.
But that's my favorite tune by Soundgarden.
Do you hear the music upstairs?
A little bit.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's not picking it up. So
Okay.
we're cool.
What is that? Make sure you leave this in the editing. Us talking about
the thing on YouTube that you can hear like by morning. This
Yeah.
is exactly. I'm not editing anything. It'll just.
Are you gonna no?
I will eventually edit this.
Okay, to about 45 minutes.
I'm gonna. So whatever we get to, because we're at almost 40 minutes. We're gonna shoot for 2 hours.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut it into 4 30-minute segments.
Okay.
So that's the plan. That way, if you guys can only come once a month, it's fine.
Right.
If you could do every other week, then we don't have to be here for 2 hours, and you could do an hour and cut it in half.
Okay.
However you honestly, however you guys decide.
All right.
You
But
know?
the mental health aspect about this, here's a weird fact too about Scott Weiland. He was on the Howard Stern show a year before he overdosed and died, and he was paying his ex-wife like $70,000 or $50,000 a month in alimony. That's ridiculous.
There's a lot of stresses that these guys
Exactly.
have. We don't know.
You can't possibly fathom being broke and being ordered to pay someone more than what I'd say 90% of the country makes in a year.
Yeah.
And you have to pay someone that a month because of how you used to live and the money you used to make. And he was with that garbage crap band.
Yeah, because Howard Stern's like, why are you doing this? He's like, my alimony's 50 to 70 grand a month. And Howard Stern was just blown away. And I was too. And that, like you said, that's a lot of stress. And like same with Kurt, you know, he had a lot on his table at the time. He was battling addiction.
Married to a crazy woman.
Married to Courtney Love, who's a handful to say the least. Just had a kid. He was not getting along with Dave Grohl at all. Like they were at each other's throats. A lot of people don't know that. And, you know, Kurt, I don't think he could really, he couldn't take the fame anymore. Not that that's a, you know, an excuse, but the mental health aspect of all these guys. I think it's legit.
Everything, when you're famous like that and people can pick apart everything you do, and you're constantly around people, it's not like if I get irritated right now, I'm just going to go in the back room and hide for a while so I don't punch anybody.
Right.
Or you're like in front of people 24 hours a day. And now in 2017, that's even more.
It's a broader scope. Media. It's a broader scope.
I mean, you can't do. You see it. You guys might flinch, but back when like Britney Spears was hot shit, and she had her whole fame and all this. Say what you will, but she got insanely famous. And then there was that whole thing about like the girl was 17, and the whole country was doing countdowns of when she was going to turn 18, so they could like fully sexualize her.
Right.
And then once she got there, then her fame went even farther. And I remember, I think it kind of peaked when like the third Austin Powers came out, when she was like a robot at the beginning and did a little dance.
I remember that.
And then it was a little bit after that when she had her breakdown, shaved her head, did all that stuff. And I was like,
I understand that breakdown, Brittany.
Who wouldn't have a breakdown? Like, honestly, if somebody's like, her image was, maybe somebody's going to be like, she's a good singer. I'm not going to comment. I'm going to keep it with no comment world. But her whole thing was her body. So if she had like a cookie or a sandwich, people would be like, oh my God, she's such a fat ass now.
Right.
And it was like relentless. No matter what that girl did, her music sucks. She's all like a product. She's not like there's no art there. There's no whatever. Constantly getting ripped on. She snapped. It was 24 hours a day. So you imagine any of these dudes, just add to the artistry that a lot of people need to go into those dark places and then write good stuff. On top of that, make good music that goes with what you wrote.
Right.
Another thing about this all, and then I know this podcast is going to focus a lot on mental health, and a lot of times we're going to talk about other people's mental health, in this case, you know, celebrities, but we're also talking about, and it's kind of hard for us to understand because we're not musical geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys wrote super deep lyrics from, you know what I mean? Like these guys were they were essentially poets. And when you look at poets from history and things like that, people who were superior intellects, a lot of them suffered, man. Like you know, like me and wife have talked about this a lot. Just like when people are so smart or so gifted at something, and you look at they look at the world, it looks different, and sometimes it's just so shitty.
Because Kurt wasn't a people person to begin with. Like,
no, I don't
Kurt
think
Cobain,
any of them were.
Kurt Cobain, like if you look into his history, he had addiction problems before that he even got famous.
So did Scott Weiland.
Right.
So
and I think Lane Staley.
They all had problems before they got big. And then some people would think that might help. You know, like but as you said, like with the Britney Spears reference, like, you know, once you get put under a microscope, you know, and everybody's giving you the eye for whatever reason, and you're no longer a person, you're a tool, you're a money-making utensil, like an instrument.
Yeah.
It's different, man.
Well, you also imagine you were talking about like the summer that Soundgarden broke up. Say you hate everyone around you, and you're making this music, or at least you guys have been around each other, even if your best friend, if you hang out with your best friend every day, 24 hours a day, and you ride on a bus with them, and you guys are taking dumps in the same like 10-foot square space, and you're doing all this stuff together, and there's no escape. You have to tour 200 cities in the next like 205 days. You don't get to see your family. You don't get to see your loved ones. You get all this. Yes, you get the adoration and the high of like playing for 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, all these people. But then you also get people that are like, hey, this is so important, don't mess up. Then you get other people that review you if you have a bad show. What if you have a bad night? You just ruin the experience for 10,000 people. You get that pressure. There's like a ton of stuff with no escape. There's no escape. What's your escape? I'm going to booze real hard tonight. What's your other escape?
What if you drop an album that wasn't as good as your last one?
Right.
That's probably got to be the big one. Yes. That you put your heart and soul into, and all of a sudden some dude that's never recorded, doesn't know how to play an instrument, has never stood behind a movie camera, never acted, whatever, and he's just like, oh man, did you see Spielberg's new movie? What trash. Or did you hear Nirvana's new single? God, that was garbage. Dude, of course that's gonna break you down. And some people, it's easy for people, outsiders, to say, no man, you just can't let it get you down. You can't let it get you down. Well, most people don't put their heart and soul into anything. I mean, lots of people do, but I'd say most people don't. They go through life and they don't really put their heart and soul into anything.
They don't take a chance on something where they can risk the opinion of a bunch of people. Think about how often we've all been around somebody that had to like give a speech for a wedding. Something stupid like that, or like a speech in high school, speech class, or in college, or
debate,
anything where you're actually honestly at a wedding. I like the wedding example because that's like average around 100 people. Let's say 100 people at a wedding. It could be more, could be less, and you have to give a speech, and that person is freaking out. Everything that has to be perfect, and that sort of doesn't matter. It matters maybe to the couple getting married. Imagine somebody playing a guitar and this song that you poured your heart and soul into, and you're about to play that for the world. Not in a live concert, but you recorded it. You're about to unleash that on the world. And nowadays in 2017, not that was a factor in all these other guys dying, but like every person now on the internet, one of the cool things about the internet is you have the perception of having easy access to certain celebrities. Like it's not that easy, but it's way easier than it was. But either way, your opinion, like you were talking about the beer earlier, you actually were able to tweet an opinion to Founders Brewing, and somebody was able to somebody looked at that and responded.
Yeah. And I could tell there was a little butthurt in there from them too.
Like in like the way it's also cool. It's like a double-edged sword. It's cool that you could actually interact with them and vice versa, but they shouldn't care. Like they should be like, you shouldn't have access to me. Yes, of course, have your opinion, but have it maybe in your own living room. Don't have it. But like I said, double-edged sword. It's very cool, but it also, like, everybody's opinion seems to be valid now.
Yeah.
So maybe some of them are valid, but like there's no. I love YouTube. I'm a huge fan of YouTube. YouTube is amazing.
The comment section are garbage.
It's I don't know where they make the business model. How if that's a reflection of actual society, like if you're able to 100% be honest, then I worry. I don't think it is. I think it's just awful.
Have you ever read the comment sections of something on YouTube?
That's what I was going to get at. Him and I have done this before. We've taken social media detoxes where you delete it off your phone, and I've done it, I think, a month, like I just deleted off my phone. I didn't do anything. There was a movement like that. Don't read the comments. Don't comment. And I don't anymore. I don't even read them on YouTube. Just don't read them. It's garbage. It's poison.
It's so bad.
I don't read it. I don't care, like.
It probably makes you feel better.
I don't read.
I
just black it out.
Sometimes you can't help yourself. It's like I don't gossip. I stay away from it. But if somebody tells me something juicy, I want to know every detail. Nature. Yeah. But last night I was watching. What do you call it? When you play on the street, look for tips. Busking? No. What is it called? Like if you go to Chicago, right?
Remember
you go to Chicago right now and you go under a bridge and you play your guitar and sing, and people tip you.
Panhandling.
There's another word for it, like that they call it in Europe. Whatever. I just said whatever.
Whatever.
So I was watching these videos of, like, there were two videos that I particularly loved, and it was a dude playing guitar and just singing, And then all of a sudden, towards the tail end of his song, you know, people dropped in some change. Another guy just walked up and started freestyling. And then they did the thing, and then they shook hands, and he walked away. It was awesome. It was so, like, unplanned. And then I saw another video where 3 dudes, like, they were all just singing with each other, playing, and then they just separated. And I thought it was amazing. I was like, this is great. This is like when you break down, like, how people say, oh, we're so separate as a society, and you don't get into the politics of things, whatever.
And then you read
see
the
this
comments.
video. Yeah. And then you see this video, and you're like, oh, man, like, world peace, it's possible. And then you read the comments, and they're like, oh, my God, that's staged. Oh, my God, that's a this. Oh, my God, you know, whatever. I was like,
that guy's flow is garbage.
Right.
My grandma can flow better than that dude.
Right.
And you're like, dude, just
I watched a
F
lesson.
off, man.
And we won't dwell on it long because it's boring and it's obvious that, you know. But I
It
was
is a
watching.
problem.
I was watching Eddie Van Halen. He was doing a lesson on finger tapping.
Okay.
And
he is the master.
He was doing it in front of other people. But the title of the video, it's not his video. It was a copy of a copy. Somebody posted a video, and it was like Eddie Van Halen invented finger tap, you know, guitar style, whatever. And then it was this awesome video of him showing what he does and all these different things, and kind of demystifies it because it sounds crazy when he does it. And so, like, every second and third comment, there was like one that was like, oh my God, he's a god, or like, how does he do this? He breaks it down. He's like, this is amazing. He seems like a, you know, whatever. But every second and third comment was like, oh, he didn't invent it. So-and-so invented it. How come you don't give props to so-and-so for it? It was just like, just enjoy the thing and shut up.
Yeah.
Like, just, you don't always have to correct somebody.
There's no comment section for this podcast, is there? Like, we're not going to get a comment
I don't care.
section.
Say
Yeah, but
whatever
we
you
got
want.
on our when we have a website, there will be a comment section. But we get you guys will get approval.
No.
Say
It's gonna be
whatever.
blanket approval. Like,
Nope.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Nope.
Okay.
It's up to you guys. But I tell you, nope.
Okay.
I suggest no, but that's up to you guys.
I pride myself in constructive criticism.
I do. Well,
Haters gonna hate.
as long as you know, there's no as long as there's no bigotry. I generally, I mean, what are you gonna call me a douchebag? I can hear that guy vaping in the background. Screw that guy.
One guy drinks too much LaCroix on that show.
The LaCroix talk is out of
LaCroix,
control.
They need to stop.
God, they drink LaCroix. Why don't they drink the Aldi brand, the cheap brand?
Oh, there we go. I don't even want to get into that.
That was the debate.
All right, real quick on the grunge thing, just to button it up.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite guitarist out of the big 5 bands?
Ooh, out of the big 5.
Out of Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains,
Oh,
Stone Temple
easily.
Pilots.
Even though they were my second favorite band,
and Pearl Jam.
it was definitely Jerry Cantrell.
I agree.
Although Stone Gossard and Mike McCready were
They are great.
hard ass, dude. Yeah, they were great guitar players. Probably the 2 best guitar players in a band in the 90s. Like, I couldn't think of any, you know, other than like Hetfield, you know, Hammett, like Gossard and McCready. Like, that one of the biggest reasons of Pearl Jam's success was the fact that they had 2 guys that were almost like that were as good as each other, and that level was.
And Jeff wrote a lot of
they were
songs
both
too, didn't he?
tens.
The bass player, Jeff, wasn't that his name?
Not sure. I know. I remember was it Cameron was the drummer, right?
Yeah.
Or was that the drummer for?
I don't remember the drummers' names for STP or.
They were brothers. The Dario brothers, maybe.
They were brothers for STP.
Yeah, they were brothers. They had the same last name. I think it's like Dario or something like that. I don't know. Like,
But the best songwriter was definitely Kurt because he made simple songs awesome. He brought that pop element back into rock and roll, and I don't know if that'll ever be.
they definitely had the best drummer. That's for sure.
But he wasn't always their drummer.
It's true.
Dave Grohl. Yeah, he was in Scream, punk band from DC. And then
it's funny
Buzz,
how these
Buzz,
conversations go full circle. How we talked about this earlier.
Buzz from the Melvins introduced Kurt to Dave Grohl, and Kurt was looking for a new drummer because Chad didn't hit hard enough, he said. And a lot of that early footage in Nirvana where you'd see Kurt trashing his gear and jumping into the drum kits and stuff was because Chad couldn't keep up anymore, and Kurt and Chris were getting frustrated. So that's why he would buy a lot of pawn shop guitars and everything, and he would jump into his drum kit because they were getting sick of Chad. And he was on basically Bleach. That was his main album. So they kicked him out, and Kurt used to be a roadie for Buzz from the Melvins, and he's like, I need to find a drummer. I want a hard hitter. And then Buzz from the Melvins knew, Dave Grohl. You're a fanboy of Dave Grohl. I know you are. Look at, see? Do you have a T-shirt?
I used to have a color in the shape shirt. It had the molecules on the album.
Yeah.
It was blue. It just had the red Foo Fighters and had the molecules. Only Foo Fighter shirt I ever owned.
He's amazing though. He is, like, even on drums. If you watch some of that older, some Nirvana footage, like Dave Grohl just pounds the drums.
In the Queens of the Stone Age Songs for the Deaf, he did the drums on that, the whole album. Like, God, some of the best drum work you ever heard. Yeah, let's move off to the mental health depression thing.
Yeah, buzzkill.
Well, one final note on that is that, in the future of this podcast, we'll talk about things, mental health things, like things possibly even to help, which is one of the reasons that we talk about music and film and things like that. And one of the big things is that thing that me and Joe both participate in. Joe more than me, because I kind of fell out of it, but need to get back into it now that I'm trying to exercise my body more, and that's meditation. And meditation, we're actually going to do a little session after we're done here at the podcast. I'm excited about it.
I am too.
I'm excited for you guys to experience it.
Yeah,
I've been hyping it.
I'm glad I brought a bunch of pamplemousse because I'm going to be parched after that one.
Yeah, our producer is going to lead us in a little meditation session, and but yeah, people listening out there in podcast land, meditate, man.
Meditate. It's like unplugging the computer and plugging it back in.
Oh,
I love it.
What a great metaphor.
Thanks.
It is. Like it is. Like
it clears the clutter.
Yeah, your phone's acting up. You
You're
shut
rebooting
that shit
that
off
computer.
and turn it back on. Yeah, got to do it with your mind every day too.
Yep.
And I haven't done it in months.
I haven't done it in a week. You're supposed to do it every day. It's just like working out. It really is.
Joe actually got me on the 9-minute thing. I told you, man.
Through Sam Harris?
Yeah.
How's that going for you?
I did 9 minutes for like 2 weeks. Last week I jumped to 20.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm struggling with the 20 now.
Okay.
Like last week I fell asleep in my car 3 out of the 5 days that I'll take, like my lunch break at work. I'll get in my car. I'll listen to the full, it's actually like 29, whatever it is.
Yeah, the 30-minute one.
I fall asleep. It's just how it is. I get relaxed. I get focused. I get out of it what you're supposed to start to get. And then I'm like, Z.
That's what I do too, and I don't think that's the right. I don't think that's the right thing. Like I've watched other videos, and you're not supposed to do that.
If you do, because they're really gentle with you. They're like, if you fall asleep, no one gives a shit.
LaCroix, lots of LaCroix.
Drink LaCroix after this.
Is that what got you on LaCroix? Someone's subliminal message, like Sam Harris? Like
Sam Harris.
You're talking about like the atheist guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
The neuroscientist? No, he doesn't drink LaCroix.
Why not?
He should.
He
Sam,
should.
if you're listening, man, you need to get on that pamplemousse.
You did tag him in it on Facebook. Tag the link on Facebook. I think I actually might be friends with him on Facebook.
I'm friends with him on Twitter. You know what? He's coming to Chicago. I just listened to his podcast. He's putting it's going to be at the Chicago Theater. He has tickets for sale for people that give money towards his podcast, and then it's going open to the whole public. So I'll keep an eye on that. We should go check him out.
Or we should reach out to him.
Yeah, that would be cool. We should reach out to him.
Can you imagine if Sam Harris came to Hobart, Indiana, and sat down with us?
That would be really cool.
That would be great. Me and him have a lot
We'd
in
let him
common.
sit in the nice couch or the nice seat over there.
The throne?
Yeah, we'd drag the throne over here.
But yeah, I like Sam Harris a lot. He's on Joe Rogan a lot. So if anybody listening, check out Sam Harris and his 9-minute meditation.
Yeah, I've heard him. I've heard him speak. I've listened to him speak at like at colleges and things like that, like on YouTube, not in person. Although I did see Richard Dawkins speak at Northwestern a few years ago. It was really great. It was a great experience. I'm a big Richard Dawkins fan.
Like
at
Richard
the time,
Dawkins.
He gets a little, ironically, a little preachy.
So does Sam Harris with the whole atheist agenda.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys do, though. It's almost in a similar vein, I think, to which I didn't know before. These guys are like intellectuals, the way you think intellectuals are supposed to be. Oh, yeah. So when you hear them talk, you're like, especially if you only hear them once or twice, you hear them and you're like, okay, this is all original stuff. You don't realize that they've just been saying this exact thing at every interview, at every college, and so, It does get preachy because they're it's like a stand-up set.
Stand-up
like
set,
they've
yeah.
been
And
honing
I'm sure,
this thing.
and then they open it up for questions at the end, and I'm
And
sure
even those get repetitive.
And I'm sure they hear the same 10
Right.
questions each and every time. And I'm sure every time somebody asks one of the questions, they think they're the first person to ask that damn question. And it's like, no, I don't believe in God. Like for the last time, and it's just like, well, why? And it's like,
I'm done with that. I would rather listen to something more productive, like to help myself out. I mean, that sounds selfish, but with Sam Harris, I love his
Yeah.
all of his references
Yeah.
to meditation, his stories about it, and then he gets off on political things. I like to listen to his side, but when you get to religion, it's just like to each their own.
true that.
Like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care, but if you want to share something with me, which he has, it really helped. That 9-minute meditation thing really helped me out in some dark times. So it did. It changed my life, and
I'm glad I brought that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just like, everybody needs to meditate. I need to meditate more. That's for sure. And
check it out. Check out that 9-minute meditation.
I'm definitely going to check
I'll
that
send you
out.
the link.
Well, with that being said about the mind and now the resetting the mind, rebooting, how about artificial intelligence creating music?
Yeah, what's that all about?
Okay, so apparently there's a program that these people they were kind of hush-hush on like where it all came from, but the world's first album ever composed and produced by artificial intelligence was dropped on August 21st this year. The album is called I Am AI, and the single is called Break Free. Now, I believe we were going to look up the laws on whether or not we can play it or not, but there's...
So yeah, we could cut off the mics for a second and listen to it.
What was it called?
It was called the single is called Break Free, and the album is called I Am AI. And what does that do for music, man? Like, while we're looking up things and stuff like that, and we're getting our act together, so to speak, what does it do for music when robots are creating music? Now, we haven't heard it yet. We don't know if it's dope or not. I mean, it could be just like bees humming in like random snare pops. But what if it's dope? I mean,
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I do like a lot of electronic music.
I don't think it's electronic. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what kind of music it is.
It has to be if it's coming from a robot. You would think. I don't know. We'll find out, but hopefully there's some rhythm. So we'll see.
On pause, and we're recording.
All right. Well, we're gonna play a little bit of the track now. We upon pausing this for, we'll say 3 hours, we paused the podcast.
This is deep.
We looked it up. We are gonna play a little bit of it. There is a female vocalist over this, but the music track and the video art was created using 100% artificial intelligence. Are you guys ready?
Let's do this.
I'll give it a listen here.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, I'm kind of, yeah, but yeah,
I'm not actually nervous.
the vocals are not artificial. It's a real person, apparently named Taryn Southern.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you either.
I wish I could see beyond what I can see. I wish I could touch beyond what I can touch. I wish I could feel beyond what isn't real. I wish I could imagine, yeah. There's more to who we are. There's more to what we could be. As I feel the weight of being, I'm learning how to break free. I'm breaking.
All right, that's almost a minute. What? Okay. Now that we hear what artificial intelligence sounds like making music with some with karaoke going over the top, like
We're doomed. We're doomed.
I think people will buy that shit up.
The DJ Khalid produced that? Who is DJ Khalid? I know I'm going all over the place, but that guy's annoying.
That guy sucks.
He does suck. But no, that's weird. I don't know what to say about that.
Well,
Just about the. I mean, it's just that's weird. Like, so the girl singing, she did it over the music.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know who wrote the lyrics or anything like that, but like all that. I mean, obviously they came up. The song is 3 minutes and 4 seconds long, so there was a 3 minute and 4 second long artificial, intelligently produced and recorded song, and then this. I guess that person recorded over it.
It's really heavy.
I just feel like it's another tool. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know that it's a big deal. They probably had to input a certain amount of things in order to have that thing create the music, and then it did.
But what if anyone can buy that software and then just, I don't know, like input, like I like Deftones, I like Metallica, I like James Brown, and then create a song with these influences, and then this software
is your fear that the computer is going to make something that you like more than something Deftones similar that is better than the Deftones? Or you enjoy more than the Deftones? Is that your fear?
I'm afraid it's going to put the Deftones out of work. Is what I'm.
Poor Chino. There's no emotion if it's a robot, though. You know that where's the emotion?
Well,
there?
it would come from the vocals. Like, I mean, obviously, like a Chino or a.
That's what's throwing me off with that, with the woman's, with her singing. Like, let me just hear the music.
I think it's just all your opinion. I don't know, especially with music, because music is an art.
It is.
So a lot of people will, if you walk in here with a guitar, or you walk in here with you walk in with a cart that has a laptop on it, and you press play on that laptop, and it knocks out some amazing guitar riff, or you play it, like you watch somebody play it, are you going to be like, holy shit, that computer is amazing? You're just going to watch that person and how fast or how skillfully their fingers are moving across the guitar. You're not really like, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe when you hear it at your house and you're not hearing somebody play, you might like how something is played. But as far as like the art of musicianship, what's the word?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
so let's not talk about consequences of like having artificial intelligence make music, but like, what does it do for music? I mean, is that anything we haven't heard before? Like
I think it's
billion
just another tool.
times. Okay.
I see it as another tool, because you get a lot of, like, look at all the software that's out there for DJs to mess with, to remix songs.
I was just going to say.
Like, it's endless.
Yeah, you
the
already
looping,
have.
all that's endless. I think a really cool tool is, you guys help me with the phrasing, the looping pedals, where you can play something by yourself and make it sound like there's 6 of you.
Yeah, play the bass line
you know
real
what I mean?
quick.
To me, that's an
rhythm guitar.
And it is a simple thing, and it is electronic. Like, it's not AI and so crazy software. But it is cool. It's another tool.
Yeah, it is another tool. I think it would be cool for elevator music or music in the,
music
in the grocery store.
Michelob
Ultra Light 500.
Natty Light.
That Natty Light. But no, that's just a strange. That's just strange. I don't really have much
like
to
we
say.
I know you guys can't see us, but we all kind of like just stared at each other while this thing played. Like it was very bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how I feel.
I don't know. Yeah, it is definitely a tool, and where could it be used? I just think. I mean, I wasn't impressed by the music. That's why I said I think we're doomed if that's a robot's taste. Like I just there's no, it sucked. So
the Terminator playing drums.
Yeah,
over there,
there's no emotion. So if it's not a human being, I'm not going to buy it. No. But that's kind of contradicting, because I do like electronic music, but there is a person behind it producing it. Like you said, there's so many different. I don't like that. I like old Aphex Twin.
Who's the other one?
Aphex Twin is one of my favorites.
Who are the French dudes?
I don't know.
With the masks, the big helmets.
Daft Punk.
Yeah, you like those guys?
I like them for what they are. They're a very pop-induced electronic thing.
I will say that I thought that the one track that I heard by them that they did with Pharrell was dope.
And Pharrell's a really good producer.
Oh.
He really is. Like, I respect him. I mean,
he's not as good as our producer here, but
no, he's not as good as SJ here at Green Door. No.
Wait till I start drinking LaCroix.
Once you get that LaCroix in your stomach, man.
Yeah.
That pamplemousse.
Stop saying pamplemousse, dude.
It's my favorite word. LaCroix, we will take whatever kind of endorsement.
We do. We don't drink here at we agreed that we would only drink on special occasions in this podcast a rare, like supposedly a great beer,
test.
like a taste test.
Yeah.
But for the most part, just La Croix.
Wait, hold on. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, as far
There's
as
that white
as far as
privilege.
the AI stuff goes, I don't.
LaCroix is white privilege in a can. But go ahead.
What flavor is that?
Pamplemousse. La Croix.
I
Yeah,
hate
I'm
you
not-
so much, dude. I hate you.
I thought listening to that AI clip was gonna give me more like I was gonna have more of an emotional reaction. But I guess I should say like it did. I was just like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of left me feeling empty. Like,
I
oh
don't
man, I
care.
was expecting to have my mind blown
because
with
we
all kinds of sounds and just.
Thought it was going to be
something.
Death Grips. You ever listen to Death Grips? No, Death Grips is really, really good. I love Death
Is
Grips.
it some kind of metal?
It's all kinds of different. It's a hip hop trio technically,
Okay.
but there's punk rock and heavy metal influence, industrial. But yeah,
Oh, you know, I
definitely
love industrial, dude. Oh yeah.
yeah, check them out. They were actually on tour with Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden, and they didn't show up because that's their MO. They're punk rock like that. Who screws over Trent Reznor? Death Grips.
I guess.
They keep it real.
All right.
But moving on.
Moving on. Okay. Now we did say politics and religion kind of off the table.
Eh.
However, not this Sunday or Monday, today. A week ago from today, last 7 days ago. Okay. Preacher. Either of you watch
show?
Preacher? Yes, the show.
No, I read the comic a couple times
No.
back in the
It
day.
is.
I watched the first 3 from the first season. That's it. Not
Okay.
the show.
It was a comic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Well, as so people who
I wanted to
don't
see how they
know.
were gonna do Arseface. That's why I watched like the first 3
Yeah,
episodes.
they actually did it pretty good.
Yeah, they did.
They did
and
pretty
I was interested in. I just haven't watched it. It was pretty good the first 3 episodes.
I really like the guy who plays Cassidy, Joseph Gilgun.
Mhm.
What up, Joe? Anyway, he was on a really good show that I used to watch, a BBC 4 show called Misfits, where it was like you remember the show Heroes?
I watched the first season of Misfits.
Oh, okay. So you know,
Yeah.
it was basically people got superpowers, but it was super dark.
But what's
Like-
the issue with Preacher?
Okay, yeah, back to Preacher. See, I told you. Okay, so in the very opening scene of last week's Preacher, there was a graphic done through silhouette, mind you, shadows on the wall, sex scene between Jesus Christ and a married woman, taking place in like the day of the Last Supper and right before he was arrested. He's arrested after the Last Supper, obviously, and it's Tyson Ritter plays Jesus. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Tyson Ritter is the lead singer of All American Rejects, and the episode was called "Dirty Little Secret." Shout out to All American Rejects from Seth Rogen, who produces the show. And there's a group called 1 Million Mothers. Actually, I wrote it down here because I've never heard of the group. Yep. 1 Million Moms. And they are doing their damnedest, no pun intended, to get Preacher ripped from AMC post haste. There was a big letter. I decided against reading the letter. The letter to AMC, and it's actually got quite the following and endorsement. What happened was, it's just, you see this 2 naked people that you can't see anything graphic because it's AMC, and then they're making out, and the guy kind of looks like Jesus, but you don't know it's Jesus at first, and then it goes to like the shadows of them on the wall through candlelight, and it gets pretty raucous.
What was the rating before the show starts? You know, did they show is it-
TVMA?
Okay.
It's TVMA.
Like it's TVMA.
It's TVMA.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of foul language.
Really violent.
and graphic violence. I mean, one of the guys, like he said, Arseface, the guy shot himself in the face with a shotgun and lived.
Yeah, so if you have a child, which I don't, and you guys know what that means, I kind of I kind of remember now. Why would you let your child watch anything that's
No, but
MA-rated?
this isn't.
What are they mad about? Because I
because
can tell
it's
about
Jesus.
the scene.
Because
yeah.
it's Jesus,
Okay.
and it's Jesus, and it wasn't even like they made Jesus some kind of crazy womanizer. Like even he says he was he tells the lady after they get done doing what they're doing that he was a virgin, and then it's kind of funny because when you find out that he's Jesus, it's because the 12 apostles knock on the door and they're like, "Hey Jesus, what are you doing in there?" And he opens the door and he's like, "I just met this lady. We were hanging out in here," and like the scene ends with like, "Cool."
So
All
is
right.
this a comedy though, or is this
No.
a serious
Well,
show?
It's a serious
It's a very
show.
serious
It's got comedy
show.
stuff in it.
Okay.
The thing is, the comic is like 20 years old when it first came out, something like that. It came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
And,
really?
And it had a run, I don't know how long, but I mean, almost immediately. The comic is
Is that Garth Ennis?
Yeah.
It's So he's known to do some pretty graphic
It's
shit.
blasphemous the whole time. And then
Yeah.
even the TV show is blasphemous the whole time. So they're allowed to protest that, but I don't think anything's going to happen. It might get a little press.
Freedom
but
of
as far
speech,
as I'm
you could
concerned,
say, but I'll play devil's advocate. You
I
should be
understand-
somewhat respectful, right? I mean, I'm against censorship, but even we were saying we don't want to talk religion and politics, but even the whole thing with the Muslim faith,
That was brought up in the
they don't
letter,
like
by
to
the
show
way.
they don't like to show the Prophet Muhammad, and I respect that. I don't think you should be disrespectful. So everybody knows the story of Jesus, or most people do. They said he was a virgin, and then you're putting that out there, and you have the right to. But is it disrespectful? Like who cares?
Is it any different from like the Da Vinci Code, where in the Da Vinci Code they say Dan Brown wrote that Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene and had children, and there's a big line. And in Kevin Smith's Dogma, where Jesus and Mary Magdalene had children, or no, that wasn't it. That was Joseph and Mary had other children.
Well, this is a politically correct time that we live in, so everybody has a platform and a soapbox
They're
to
allowed to
complain
protest
about.
it.
Right.
I could see where it's if you're.
I guess my question is, does that go too far when they won't show a Muhammad on television in respect of the Muslim faith, but Seth Rogen, who doesn't believe in Jesus, for the record, or doesn't believe Jesus is the Son of God. He's Jewish.
He's Jewish, yeah.
So doesn't believe that. Is it wrong that obviously it's offensive? I mean,
Right.
I'm not a Christian, but I believe it was offensive. But I mean, is it something that we should get worked up about? Not us three here. I mean, people in general.
I don't think it would be an issue if it was a movie. That's one thing, but since it's a TV show, maybe that ruffles more feathers. Because obviously you said it's somewhat blasphemous, so you know what you're getting into. But
yeah, the whole show is blasphemous. I mean, they have angels drinking and smoking crack at one point.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think it's a problem, me personally, but I could see where someone could take that.
It's the internet age. It's America, where you have a voice no matter what you say. Like, if you don't like something, you're allowed to speak up. Those women are perfectly. They can. That group can complain all day long. We could talk about it for days and days and days. Some people are offended. People are offended by absolutely everything.
Everything.
Now. And a lot of it's legitimate, and some of it's illegitimate. But that's for discussion's sake.
Yeah.
And I don't like stuff like that. I don't think about it too long. Let them have their fight. If it gets canceled, that's AMC's thing. I might have issues too. There's lines to everything. As it happens, like to me, like if you want to give art its thing, that's cool. Like, let an artist be an artist, and some of that stuff's going to be weird, and some of it's going to be offensive. I have my line, you have your line. As a society, we have a line, and we're constantly trying to move that line all over the place. Some people want to push it towards what they believe. Some people other people want to push it towards what they believe, and that's what we do. And I think it's totally okay as long as, we can keep moving forward in some direction.
So you think the protesting is okay? Which I agree. I think. I mean, America was built
have the
on
right.
protesting.
I'm annoyed by it, but they're allowed to do it.
Yeah, I'm annoyed
I don't
too.
care.
But yeah, I agree. But so it's okay for the protests. As I said, I agree with that. But is it okay if AMC which is issues an apology, or
They won't.
I agree. I don't,
They won't cancel it. They won't
really
issue an
should.
apology.
But at some point, enough people are going to protest something and get something censored.
Well, that happens all the time.
But what if it was Muhammad? Just as an example, or what if
South
it was?
Park didn't South Park have the whole
They
thing?
did.
with-
They did.
They did. Yeah, they
So,
go.
I mean,
They did.
Yeah,
But South Park is different.
No, but you're absolutely right. South Park did, and that was hilarious. But there's
a lot of that. Sorry, I'm cutting you off, but there's
okay.
also that thing where currently there's a lot of people that won't come after, like, won't depict Muhammad. You know, I'm sure if somebody did it, I don't know what would happen, but it's I liken it to a lot of times if you have a brother or a sister and they do something, you're like, because that's your brother or your sister, it's easier for you to, like, make fun of them, rip on them, say something hurtful to them than a stranger that you'll more likely tiptoe around because you can kind of get away with it. I don't know if that sounds bad, but, like, we can kind of say awful stuff about Jesus or depict it. There's repercussions. There's people that might complain.
Absolutely. You could say whatever you want.
You kind of know, like, all right, maybe I'll get booted off the TV. Maybe I'll do this and that. But, that group is not going to come and, like, come into that. At least I hope not. But that group is not coming in there with, like, a machine gun and being like, "Where's Seth Rogen?" It's so I honestly don't, like, let them, if they want. There's stuff like that all the time. I back in the day in the 90s when Roseanne kissed that other woman, like, that was a huge deal. Ellen got booted off. Ellen came out on her show.
And got booted off her own show,
and her
right?
show got canceled.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ellen, I read something like she's very, very rude and hard to work with. Like, she throws temper tantrums all the time. Like, she's not nice.
Well, if anything in
like,
this
she's a
world
little
would
baby.
surprise me, that would be it.
Yeah, I just read that, like, stars that are just really hard to work with, and she blows up all the time on set. Like, she's just not a nice person.
You know what's funny is that when we were watching the McGregor fight, and Steve Harvey was in, like, the third row or whatever, and I just saw the top of his head. I leaned over, I go, "Dude, is that Steve Harvey in the crowd?" And Joe goes, I don't know. And then a round later, he was, like, looking up from his phone. Finally, I like
Steve Harvey,
and he had that big thick mustache. He goes, "Dude, that is Steve Harvey. You were right." Didn't he just get sued or something like that by his cast for being a dickhead?
He wrote a letter that was like, from now on, like, don't come to my like, wherever he gets ready, his makeup.
So he's a jerk.
Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
I don't care about any of that stuff.
I was just saying she's not a saint.
No, I don't think she is a saint, but I mean,
I'm saying people, like, there's certain things, like,
it's just weird.
People
Ellen,
complain about all kinds of
an
stuff.
asshole.
She's an asshole.
It's
I'm telling
weird.
You, I just read that.
Oh man, it doesn't break my heart or anything.
Don't lose
like
any
that,
sleep
but,
over
yeah,
this.
no,
right?
but I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. It's weird. You generally hear nothing but good things, but I guess you got to see where the sausage is made. No, definitely no pun intended there.
But yeah, censorship, it sucks, and you should be able to say whatever you want. And if it was rated TV MA, then it is what it is. I mean,
I said it earlier. There's the up and the down on the remote control.
Yeah.
Change the channel.
Like I mentioned earlier with YouTube, I don't read the comments because I don't care about people's negative opinions. So if that's something that offends me, I'll turn the channel. It's that simple.
No.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're all good on that?
Yeah.
Censorship bad. Change the channel if you don't like it.
Yeah. Get over it.
Yeah. Okay.
Go eat a ice cream sandwich or something.
Oh, ice cream sandwich sounds good, dude.
I know. So, but
let me look back in my book here. Anybody?
No, I think that's.
I have. What music are you guys listening to right now?
Okay.
What's in the car right now? What's in the car
right now?
Right now, what's in the car?
Gambino, dude.
Childish Gambino.
Gambino, always, forever, dude.
I like Childish Gambino.
The new one, got some weird stuff on it. It's very, like it's all
it's all over. How new is the new one?
Less than 6 months.
Okay.
It's the one that's got the track "Me and Your Mama." It's dope. It's
I haven't
dope.
listened to his new album yet.
It's not as good as people like some people like would punch me in the face for saying it. But it's not as good as like Because of the Internet, which is my favorite album.
Was that the album like with his face on it and it's pink in the background?
Yes,
it was
yeah,
big like
Sweatpants.
Yeah, Sweatpants.
World Star.
That's the song I like a lot.
World Star is a great song. What else? 3005 is another big track on that one. And it's good hip hop, man. But this new album isn't hip hop. It's not. It's like funk and blues and soul and R&B, and it's crazy because he does nothing but sing on it. I don't think I can't think of a single part on that album where he raps. So Gambino, of course, Soundgarden. I'll always, have Soundgarden on some shuffle, like, a set list when I work out, like listen to a lot of metal. The Fear Factory's newest album, Genexus.
Yeah, hip-hop wise, I was telling him earlier, John Wayne, he's a rapper / producer from California. He's been around for about 5 or 6 years, but it's called Rap Album 2. And check that out. That's probably, as of right now, in my top 3 favorite releases of 2017. His production is awesome. He's like a backpack conscious rapper, kind of hipstery. He's a Caucasian dude, long hair. He looks like a biker almost.
What's the name of the album that you're?
Rap Album 2 by John Wayne. It's JONWAYNE. It's all like one word. Rap Album 2. It's really, really good lyrical content. I love the production. He's a really good rapper, so check him out. He has a lot of release singles that have been released too the last couple years on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, definitely check it out. And then another rapper that I like a lot, it just came out yesterday or the day before. His name's Wiki, and he's in a rap duo. Well, it's a trio. There's like a guy that does the beats, then there's a dude that kind of sings and raps, and then Wiki is the main MC. They're from New York. They're called Rat King. I started listening to them probably in 2012.
And so was it a Wiki solo album?
It's Wiki's first actual solo. He dropped a mixtape. See, that's the thing now with hip-hop. It's been going on for a while, but artists will drop mixtapes, and then they'll drop actual solo releases. So Wiki dropped a mixtape last year, which was really good, but this solo album, I think it's called No Mountains in Manhattan. But he's a great rapper. He's working with Ghostface Killah from Wu-Tang on there, which, if I think Wiki is only 21 or 23, but a lot of people are knocking modern hip-hop like there isn't anything good out there. But check out Rat King for sure, but the new Wiki album's really good, and his mixtape was awesome. But those are 2 hip-hop albums that everyone should check out. I mean, I just listened to the Wiki one, so I liked what I've listened to. But
Okay.
John Wayne Rap Album 2.
I'll peep that out.
Yeah, please check that out.
That's going to be a running theme for the cast, is that at the end of each cast, me and Joe are he's going to throw an album at me that I need to peep, and I'll throw like a TV show or something like that, or a movie that I enjoyed that I've recently seen.
Live performances, too. I'm going to go see a group called Mets next month in Chicago. It's METZ. They're a 3-piece. I think they're from Canada, but they have a real edgy, dirty Nirvana vibe to them.
Okay.
They're a really, really good band.
Where are they playing at?
What is it? I think is it the Metro? I don't remember. It's either the Metro or the House of Blues. But they're a really good trio. They just released a couple singles. Check them out. It's kind of like a dirty grunge punk. He shouts. He doesn't really just scream the whole time. But
Gotcha.
I like a really good solid 3-piece. You don't see that anymore.
Another one I can recommend for you. They're kind of metal-y, but they got some really clean vocals. They just actually released their second album. I don't know either. I don't remember the name of either album, but they're both on YouTube. You can listen to them both on YouTube. I know they're on iTunes. Band's called Night Demon. 3-piece from Cali. Singer plays bass. They're like very old school Metallica vibe with like super clean vocals, like just like almost like rockabilly vocals, like Tiger Army type vocals, and they're really good. I saw them last year open up for Ghoul.
I like Ghoul.
Yeah, Ghoul's great. They shot blood all over me and my wife while we were watching them.
They're
great.
cool. They're like a death metal guar, or they're a lot of fun.
It's antics and it's nonsense, but it's really good grindcore, old school grindcore music, and they've been doing it for a long time. And so my buddy runs sound at Reggie's, and he was like, "Dude, come check out Ghoul tonight."
Wasn't Ghoul at Big Shots too in South Haven, Portage? I think they were.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think they were. I think they may have opened for Down. Don't quote me on that, but Down was there with Phil.
I remember when Down was there. I didn't go. I went to see. I just saw Deicide there, and
I saw that show.
a bunch of local metal bands. Dude, there was a band from LaPorte. I wish I remember what their names. I think the oldest guy in the band, I called him Guy. The oldest kid in the band was like 19 or maybe 20. And I was actually talking to the drummer's uncle, and he was like, "Dude, that guy graduates high school in like 3 days because it was right at the beginning of summer, and they were super just thrash metal scream. I mean, just it was awesome." And
Speaking of thrash, Converge dropped a single. Well, they dropped a 7-inch, a 2-sided 7-inch. Both songs were awesome.
Wow, who does that anymore?
People still do that.
Do they?
Yeah, it's a good marketing scheme. But then they released a single off their up-and-coming album. It's called Under Duress. That's a really, really good tune. You know how Converge is really aggressive, basically right off the bat? They're kind of doing some different things right now. I hear like a little Mastodon influence in there. The backup vocalist, the bass player is doing some stuff, but they're noisy and it throws down. So if you want to lift some heavy weights or hit a punching bag, I'd really suggest checking that out. Because you said you like old aggressive metal, right? Mm. Yeah, check out Converge. It's a really good single. I'm looking forward to that album for sure. Something different. That's one of my fanboy groups for sure.
Nice.
What's in your stereo?
I don't want to talk about it. Okay. I'm not.
Celine Dion.
I feel Celine Dion.
Britney
the
Spears.
Armageddon soundtrack.
Oh man, hey, give me another La Croix, dude. Okay. I'm out.
The reason I don't. I'm real ADD, and I can't. I listen to a dude called the White Buffalo. He's done music for.
What is that? I saw somebody in Hobart has a White Buffalo sticker. What is that all about? Like, what is?
I can't speak on that. I know there's a movie from like the 70s or 80s, but he's just some dude from California that looks like a biker. He's done music. He's got a real deep voice, real simple songs. It's usually just him on a guitar, but he's done songs for like Sons of Anarchy. But I saw him open for a band called State Radio years ago, and they're totally different as far as musical taste.
Check him out.
But he had a song called Love Song No. 1 that I really liked. So ever since then, I listened to him.
Been jamming that?
I listen to that. I'm all over the place. I've been trying to get into, like, I like rockabilly, but I don't know any band.
Volbeat.
I know one band.
Check out Volbeat.
There's a Russian immigrant band called the Red Elvises. They did the
sounds awesome.
They did a soundtrack for a movie called Six String Samurai back in the 90s. And that movie was like, in the 90s, I used to be obsessed with shitty karate movies.
Okay. You like the old Wu-Tang, like the old Wu-Tang movies? Like Sleeping Fist? Or you ever remember Sleeping Fist?
I've seen everything. But these were like,
those
were like from China. I was obsessed with the ones that were not from, where they had American actors. Or like actors from like some crazy part of like Eastern Europe.
Awesome.
Did you like the ones that they did kind of recently? Like the one that Mike Patton from Faith No More and Tomahawk narrated, was it? I think Josh Hart, Bunroku.
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay,
I loved it.
Bunroku, I thought it was amazing.
Really cool.
That sounds awesome.
Really
Ron
cool.
Ron Perlman's in it. Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
And then there was the Western
Demi
one.
Moore is in it. The Western one. I've seen that one too. I like Bunraku more, only because they do it in the style of that Japanese like puppet stage stuff. So everything looks like it's cut out and laid out. It was on Netflix for a while.
And like everyone's got like the bright colored suits on, like Dick Tracy style. Like
it looks like
Dick Tracy.
Everybody,
yeah.
It
looks like Dick Tracy a lot.
And
what
it's
a great movie that was.
What was the one with the samurai in the United States and the Western? It had
I want to say it's called The Samurai Way, but I think I'm wrong. So
Samurai Way. But I love the old kung fu flicks. That's crazy you brought that up. I love the old Wu ones.
They did. So the Red Elvis was on there, and I thought they were fake, but they're also from California, but it's a rotating cast. Now they're called Igor and the Red Elvises. And it started with these two dudes, and they're from Russia. They have real thick Russian accents, and they play really silly rockabilly music. And I've seen them live a couple times, and I describe it to my friends as like Barney for adults.
Well, if you're looking for a rockabilly band, actually a good friend of ours and a former coworker of Joe's, his name's RC Telez. Shout out to my boy RC. He is the drummer for the Crank Daddies, and it has daddies in the title, so you know it's a good rockabilly band. Like it's like
a staple.
It is. And if I don't know if you check them out, but you can look them up on anything.
I'm new to a lot of this stuff. And
Tiger
I'm
Army.
ADD
Tiger
with
Army.
My,
that's the best rockabilly band.
With my music.
Probably.
Check out Tiger Army.
I went to what's the name of it? Martyrs in Chicago has like live music all the time. It's on Lincoln Avenue or Lincoln Street, whatever it is. they're closed on Mondays, but they have live music every single day. But they have open mic rockabilly once a month. And I went 2 years ago. They had a motorcycle, they had a thing called Motoblot. Now they do it by Cobra Lounge. In the city. They do it once a year. But they did it one night at Martyrs, hosted the first night of this Motoblot thing. And I was blown away at the rockabilly culture in Chicago. I did not know there were so many bands.
It's definitely a scene.
And people.
No.
I didn't know. I loved it. I went out there. Everybody was dressed up. All the girls were dressed up like pinup girls. Everybody was dancing. It was just
kryptonite for me, dude.
Then they would set up, and it wasn't like a regular open mic where a dude in a guitar would get up, or a stand-up guy would get up. It was like 3 to 5 piece bands coming on every half hour, and in between, while they were setting up, they'd have a girl doing burlesque over
That's
other
cool.
music. It was super cool.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah. The open mic rockabilly thing was a little different. They didn't have the burlesque, but that Motoblot night, they had the burlesque, and it was awesome. I was blown away by how many good bands. I was like, okay, they can't all be good. But I was there for, I think, 3 hours or however long the whole thing was.
I think the whole scene thing with music is kind of weird. I mean, it's always been there, but as I'm getting older and I go to shows, you could really step back and see it for what it is. Like, even some younger friends that I have, like, I'd be like, hey, check out this band or blah, blah, blah. They're like, well, I'm into the Doom scene. Like, that's it. It's like...
crab metal.
Yeah, it's weird, but like the rockabilly thing, like you're saying, that's definitely a scene, and it seems like it would be a lot of fun, like what you're saying. There's dancing.
It just depends on what music is. Like, we could talk about it for a while, but music it's just amazing. And when I first met you, Joe, I was talking about how when somebody comes at you and goes, I don't think there's been any good musics, and I hate being repetitive. No good music there's been no good music since like 1970. Like, anything that's good is like classic rock or something. And I'm like, come on, man.
That's when music was music.
Right. There's so much awesome music out there. Whatever your particular taste is, you could write words on a sheet of paper and cut them up and mix them up and then just pull out 5 random words and say, like, okay, that's the genre I want. And you'll probably find a good ass band that plays that style.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And with the internet now too, you could really like research on one of your favorite bands and their influences, because I've done that for like the past 10 years. Like, okay, who's this? And then listen to them. Mm-hmm. That's what's really cool, because back in the day you'd have to like watch an old interview, and like Kurt Cobain would mention Black Flag, like he met Chris Novoselic at a Black Flag show. That's how you used to have to search for it back then, but now you could just Wikipedia it and then read about it, then you check out these other bands that influence some of your idols, and that's really cool.
Oh, it's great. YouTube is a good place. Spotify. I mean, every
but here's the thing though, with with this newer generation, the later half of the millennials, they really don't have anything to fall back on as far as like iconic music superstars. Like, that's a very bold statement, but Britney Spears, like who's this generation's Kurt Cobain? Or like who's
that's open? Don't like. There's a big following for somebody like, let's say for example, like Father John Misty. I don't like his music. Have you guys ever heard of him? There's a bunch of hipsters that love him religiously. Like, my brother is one of those guys. He took me for my birthday. He took me to Father John Misty, and there were a bunch. It was like a line of zombies. How much they like this.
What kind of music is it?
It's very chill. It's very repetitive. I don't even know how to...
He's singing songwriter stuff. Like,
yeah, he like talks a lot of his...
I have trouble with the singer-songwriter shit.
I do too.
I mean, there's some guys out there like that I can get into and listen to every now and then, like Elliott Smith. Who was the one that walked into the lake and never came out? Did Hallelujah and what was his name?
I know Elliott Smith, but back to this. What's this guy's name again?
Father John Misty. There's a lot. I don't know who that person is. Maybe there aren't going to be as many of those giant acts that they're still going to be rocking at 70, or people are going to be like, this is what I listened to, from 2010 to 2020. But the thing is, there might be like 20 smaller bands that take the place of that one awesome person.
Yeah, you're right. I think maybe the internet killed that.
I don't know that it's a bad thing. There's like,
yeah, you're right.
So many awesome options.
Today's Kurt Cobain. I'm still like, sorry, I'm like, you asked that question like 5 minutes ago. I've just been racking my brain like with I don't know, like.
Here's a positive spin, though. I do like how vinyl's made a comeback, a big comeback, and it's bringing business to small independent companies like yours, like the record stores, because they have Record Store Day now. You know, like they release certain limited editions of newer music and newer artists or represses. So it gets people back into the record stores. And like that was like such a fun thing when I was younger. You would go like when an album would come out, like the hype, and you would go and you would search for it. And a lot of people that love music, they're getting back in the record stores.
Yeah, like the MP3 kind of killed all that. Like
it did, but it's the vinyl's back, and I think it's a really cool
every
thing.
time you see somebody like on like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or what's the other dude, but Colbert, like, and he brings out a band, he'll flip up the big record, like with the whole you know, like in it, like in you're like, and I was thinking about that the other day.
So nostalgic, you
like,
could touch it.
Yeah, I was like, who buys records? But I guess
I do.
I guess there's a market.
There's
out
a
there,
market.
yeah.
It's made a huge comeback in the last 10
5-10 years.
5 to 10 years.
I haven't even purchased a CD in like a store for. I've bought CDs for like bands that I've went and saw. Like when I saw Fear Factory, I was with a buddy, and one of the opening bands was from New York. Never heard of them before. They were called Martyred, and dude, they were like Iron Maiden reincarnate, dude. They were so good, man, and just dueling guitar solos and double bass blast beats and clean operatic vocals with a big heavy scream in there every now and then. And me and my buddy that went and saw it, like we were like, dude, this is great. And afterwards, the guy was like, we got some merch at the back table,
They had
selling
CDs
for $10 a piece. And afterwards, I hung out with them, and they signed all my shit. You know, like I bought like a little picture and a CD, and they signed it. They were like the coolest guys ever, and they just looked like normal dudes, you know, like that had to go to work the next day, you know. But yeah, that was the last CD I bought, was from a band themselves. Like,
but you never bought a record? You've never bought any
Joe,
vinyl?
record
Like
day
a
is still
vinyl?
a big thing.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Record
Yeah.
store day?
It was just a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, it's usually every, what month? Yeah. I think it happens twice a year. Like I knew, like the album I wanted to get was Big L. He's like one of my favorite rappers ever. And like his first single was called Devil's Son. And it's just a classic, iconic shock jock type.
Never, to answer your question, by the way,
Yeah.
not once in my life have I bought a vinyl record.
No?
No.
Okay.
I
I own a ton. Like I
No,
have all my
that's cool,
parents,
and
and I've
that's
been
cool.
buying
Yeah,
for
like-
the last 15 years. Like if it's an album I really, really like, I'll buy it on vinyl.
Like my mom had like Bob Seger albums, and you know, it's like in Journey and stuff.
I have
like
my
that.
mom's old Sade albums. What do you know about
Sade.
that? I love Sade, Smooth Operator.
Dude, that's
There's your Kurt Cobain of.
Yeah, well, that was the 80s, though.
No, that was back in the
Oh yeah,
Another one-
Sade,
She's
yeah.
still doing concerts. I think.
Is she?
Yeah,
I love Sade. I'd love to go check
see,
her out.
I'd go see Sade, dude.
I looked it up.
When she sings, it's like
I don't know any
sex
music.
coming out of her mouth. That's my girl. Shout out to Sade.
So let me transition this way. So I asked you, what are you playing in your? What concerts you got coming up? You guys both. You mentioned something.
I'm gonna go see Mets.
He's-
METZ.
Yeah, yeah.
Check them out. That's what's on my radar.
Dude, I got nothing on the hook, because let me tell you, I've tried to see a few shows in the last year, like of bigger bands, and every time you try, it gets sold out, and then you see the tickets on StubHub like 20 minutes
That's a huge
later
turnoff.
for like $250.
That
And
sucks.
Here's the story: like my all-time favorite band is Faith No More, and I've never seen them live. They just came to Chicago like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. It was right after they released Soul Invictus, their last album. And I woke up early on a, whatever day it was, and was logging in, and it kept putting me in line, like, you are 2 minutes away from getting tickets. And then it would refresh. You are 5 minutes away from getting new tickets. And then after like so many refreshes, it eventually just said, dude, you're boned. You're not getting shit today.
Yeah.
And then like you check it out and you look, and you go on StubHub 30 minutes later, and the tickets you were just trying to buy for $30 a pop, plus whatever bullshit ticket price or charge they had, like the $15 convenience fee or whatever. These tickets are now on StubHub for $150 to $250 a piece.
Capitalism. Get used to it.
It is capitalism, but it's garbage. And do you remember when we used to think scalping was illegal, and until finally one day somebody said, it's not actually illegal.
Well,
You can do that. Like, and that's what it is. It's
You're a Mike Patton guy.
I am a Mike Patton dude.
And he's playing at Riot Fest with Dead Cross. I think I told you about them. That's him with
did.
Dave Lombardo from Slayer.
Right. I haven't heard
It's
them
pretty
yet.
cool.
I haven't
It's
heard them
aggressive.
yet, which is surprising for me and a Mike Patton band.
You're a
but
Mike Patton dude. I love him too.
I'm gonna peep that. I remember when he told Chino to drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah,
and
he
did
drank
it.
a whole bottle of vodka.
Or vodka.
He's the singer from Deftones, Chino, and he talked him into drinking a whole bottle of Absolute. So he was intoxicated, and he had to take a leak, and he jumped over like the fence or something. And this was in the Netherlands. And when he jumped over the fence and he tried to come back, security didn't know who he was, and they beat him up right before he went on stage. So he went on stage wasted. And there's the audio recording is on YouTube.
Wow.
And it's really, really bad. And he did the tuck from Silence of the Lamb.
Oh God.
That's how wasted he was. He did the tuck. Because this was like right before, this was probably like, 2000, 17 years ago. But yeah, he bumped into Mike Patton. And
Don't hang out with Mike
don't
Patton.
hang out with Mike
Don't
Patton
hang out
is,
with Mike Patton.
is the moral of the story. But I'm looking at Bands in Town, which is a great app, because it syncs up to your Spotify or whatever's on your phone, and it tells you what artists
So whatever
are coming.
genre, the more genres of music you roll through on Spotify, the more bands it's going to pop
Oh yeah,
up on.
I have 75 bands. Okay, yeah, Mets, they're playing at Talia Hall. I'm glad you asked what venue. That's a new venue on the south side. It's in
Pilsen.
It's in Pilsen. I
Yeah.
really want to check it out. Have you been
awesome.
there?
Yeah.
I heard it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Is it?
is, yeah. I'm going to go see in October, at the end of October, a band called the Lone Bella. They're from New York. They're sort of like a bluegrass.
Cool.
They harmonize as two dudes and a woman.
You know who I'd really like to see is the Native Howl. Have you heard them? They're a bluegrass band, but they're a bluegrass band, and they're obviously they're like Kentucky or Tennessee or Alabama or something like that, and they have a big metal influence in their bluegrass sound, and
that sounds cool.
Oh, it is. Like, YouTube them, Google them, whatever. They're called the Native Howl, and they're supposed to be coming to Chicago, I think, in December or January, and I definitely want to check them out because they're really cool. Because I mean, I'm not a folk guy. Like, I didn't do the whole Mumford and Sons thing when it came out. Like, people,
I wasn't buying that either.
like, I mean, I heard I tried. Like, there was I liked the Little Lion Man song. It was good. And then
that just seems like something that would be at Wrigley Field like every weekend.
oh God, here we go.
There's a stab.
I know.
We'll go
But I'm sure a couple Cubs walked out to it.
a lot of guys in pink polos, salmon colored polos, Jimmy Buffett T-shirts. A lot of Wrigley.
It's on my list of concerts. I want to see Jimmy Buffett once. I want to.
Do you?
Just to see what it's about. I mean, just
Yeah.
I heard it's a good time.
Just like there's certain concerts and events that I want to go to.
South Park did an episode about Jimmy Buffett too.
I want to
Yeah.
I want to tailgate at a Jimmy Buffett concert. Like, I want to go before the concert, and then I'm assuming that once I get there, I'll have enough beer in my system that everything is just going to be beautiful to me.
Margaritas.
But
I could tell you that if his concerts are anything like his garbage restaurant Margaritaville, you are gonna hate every second of
place
it.
does suck. I went to one in Nashville this year.
Me and my wife
wasn't really.
I think in
happy.
Florida, we on a layover, like somewhere at an airport, which, I mean, generally airport food is trash regardless, but this place was just really bad. I couldn't believe it.
I got some chicken quesadillas, so you can't really mess up a chicken quesadilla. If you do, you're a terrible human being.
I think I had a margarita at Margaritaville restaurant. I think it tasted like,
It's ironic.
no, I think it tasted like a $3 tequila and like half a shot of $3 tequila and like lime. It
Local
was just
shows, UFO's coming. Do you remember UFO?
Lights Out in London.
Yeah, old British heavy metal band. I would check that out if I was off, but I'm not off. I love UFO. Phenomenon, that's my album.
our theater is going to start. They're going to have 4 concerts coming up at the end of September. Mostly
they?
cover bands.
Okay.
I'll go see a
They're
cover
having
band, dude.
American English. That's the Beatles cover band. They're pretty good.
Are they?
Wow. Yeah.
In
I'd
October.
check that out.
Yeah, they're going to be at the Griffith Fest Thursday. American English is.
Is the Griffith Fest the church sponsored one? Because I went
So
to
one where they
that.
block off the street in the middle of downtown.
Okay, I think I went to that last year. I did.
It was cool last year. I
I was there. I was there. They had the beer garden.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah, they block it off.
I actually shout out to Griffith. I like it a lot. Like the downtown, I like that Twin Cades is cool. S&J Records, they were always in Highland. Speaking, talking about record stores, like I've been going to S&J Records for the last 15 years, and he moved to Griffith. I love S&J Records. Everybody check that place out. But Twin Cade is cool. I like that brewery. What is it? Oberflas? How do you say it?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
But it's really good. They have really good beer, really good food, and I love Dynamite Music. That's where I take all my musical equipment to get restrung and all my basses. But yeah, Griffith is cool.
Our two cables that actually work on our mics.
Did you get that from Dynamite?
Dynamite. Yeah.
All right, shout out to Dynamite.
Yeah, with the 2 of the 3 cables we have that are working.
But yeah, I like Griffith, man. Like it's cool. What's Bridges? Isn't that one of the bars? I don't know. I don't know. It's cool. I know they've revitalized it. We're hoping that Hobart gets revitalized. And Hobart is.
Also.
Hobart's doing a great job. Like you noticed that today.
I did. I rolled through. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in Hobart in probably over a year, and I noticed over by Lake Park Avenue, or the rugby field, just the new what is it, median and the grass median they got there, and
that's a big deal.
And well, I mean, I've driven through like
that thing was a pain in the butt.
It took forever for them to do the roundabout by the hospital.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, dude, I remember because I used to come down.
I just avoid it.
Is that
too.
Wisconsin or 3rd?
Yeah, it's Wisconsin.
Still avoid it?
61st. Yeah, I just avoid that. It's just stupid. I mean, roundabouts are cool. I get it, but I don't want to deal with it.
They save lives, Joe.
I've been I stayed away from that construction
flow,
for like a year and a half, so that 61st is just dead to me
they
right
save
there.
Power of electricity too.
Do they?
Stoplights. Yeah. I mean, think about it.
Hobart is modern
and friendly
and progressive.
So what are you watching these days? Either one of you? You guys peeping anything on the
We were talking about
television?
that internet blackout thing. I haven't watched any television in almost 2 months.
Good for you.
I did watch YouTube. I guess doesn't count. I've been YouTube.
I know. I'm addicted to
YouTube doesn't count. No, you can watch YouTube.
It should, because of the reason I blacked it out is because I needed to not get so much information. Like really block out most of the information I was getting so I could focus myself. But I ended up watching The Defenders on Netflix.
What did you think? I watched it. I
liked it for the most part.
I liked it as well.
I don't like Iron Fist.
I love Iron Fist.
I wish he would get
not the.
He has a show.
Not the
comic book.
He's
character?
part of the group. Yeah.
Not the. Okay.
Guy?
So I'm a big. They call them throners now. Like, apparently we're throners, like the Game of Thrones people. People who read
Is
the
this
books.
your nerd alert?
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
So, Finn Jones, the actor who plays Iron Fist, was he was on Game of Thrones. And Loras Tyrell was his name. And so the reason that a lot of the big thing about Iron Fist, the TV show on Netflix, was that the fight scenes were really bad.
They were really, really bad.
Okay.
I can't believe Iron Fist has his own show.
I was so excited.
He's cool, but he's
like
pretty obscure.
I like Kung Fu, and the whole idea of using chi as a weapon is amazing, and I've always liked his comic books. And so it got brought to life. Well, they picked this guy, Finn Jones. And there was a big controversy that they picked a white guy to be Iron Fist, even though in the comic books he's a white guy. Which, everybody offended. That's one. Yeah, I know. The look on Joe's face, if you could see it when I said that, because he's an Iron Fist fan. He knows he's a white guy. It's weird.
He had a mask on him, but he had a white neck. Who cares?
Yeah,
Joe's distracted. He keeps thinking about that AI song we listened to earlier.
Yeah, that was moving.
So, after the last day of filming of Game of Thrones, he didn't have a whole lot of time before they started filming the Iron Fist show. And so he didn't have the time that like Charlie Cox, the guy who plays Daredevil, has to get in the fight formation, to learn all this stuff like Keanu Reeves doing all this crazy stuff in the Matrix and stuff. And so it wound up being kind of garbagey. Like the fight scenes were super lame and
Did Bullseye show up?
No.
Bullseye needs to show up in some of these.
But Defenders
Daredevil
was much better than Iron Fist. And I think Iron Fist, the character, was much better in the Defenders.
Who was all in the Defenders? What characters?
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Daredevil, and Stick.
Stick?
Yeah.
He's an old blind guy.
The old blind guy that trained Daredevil. He's a minor character, but I mean he was And what's her face too?
Electra.
Rosario Dawson.
Oh, Rosario Dawson.
Is that the
the villain? Who's
No, the villain was actually Sigourney Weaver,
Yeah.
of all people. Yeah.
See, the villains are so important to me anyway, especially with comic book movies.
In each one of the seasons, they're except for the Jessica Jones ones, the villain was all the same. It was an organization called the Hand.
I don't like that.
And-
Like Kingpin was awesome in the newer Daredevil Netflix stuff.
Well, in the second season, the villain was the Hand. Well, one of the villains was the Hand of Daredevil, and then.
Okay.
In the Defenders, they all kind of teamed up to fight this one giant organization, and I don't know whatever.
Got to bring Bullseye in. He was a great Daredevil villain.
He was a great Daredevil. Not Colin Farrell though. Not the movie.
Oh, he did. Yeah, that's right. He was in
No,
that.
Bullseye was a great villain, just not
By
the
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell Bullseye.
I love Colin Farrell though.
I do too. In Bruges is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, movies. Sorry. I watched Baby Driver.
How was that?
It's playing next door at the Art Theater. If you guys are into music, go watch Baby Driver.
Okay.
It's got you could look up the soundtrack on YouTube. I thought I was going to like it more because I'm a big, not Simon Pegg, the director. He did Shaun of the Dead and all those movies.
Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
The director.
Simon Pegg.
They're the
No.
actors.
I thought.
I saw the poster out there.
It's on the internet. It's essentially like a musical, sort of. It's about this kid that got into an accident, so he has tinnitus. His ears are ringing. So in order for him to actually focus, he's listening to music all the time, and he's got hidden iPods all over his body for different moods. So he has different mixtapes, and the rhythm of all his movements in life are to the beat of different songs. So it's all that they got rock. They have like Queen. They have like old like R&B. They have like hip hop. Everything is in there. And it's
Queen.
and he's a driver for bank robbers, and he's like this badass driver, and his name is Baby, so it's called Baby Driver. And
Sounds really cool.
I thought it was
Isn't
great.
isn't it Ansel Elgort, the actor who plays the main character? Like
I don't know. Let's see.
It's weird.
Yes,
But Edgar Wright is the guy.
Edgar
you're
Wright.
thinking
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
And the
So I'm a
reason
big
What
Edgar
else did
Wright
he
fan.
do?
and the reason I thought that Simon Pegg directed it was because Simon Pegg wrote Shaun
Yeah.
of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and
The third one.
what was the third one? The one where they
End of the
travel
World or
around. Yeah,
something.
they
It
travel
was
around
called
the
End of the
pubs.
World.
They're drunk during the alien invasion.
Yeah.
I missed every one of those.
First movie was a zombie movie that they did together.
Shaun of
Second
Shaun of
one
the
was-
Dead.
Okay.
Second one was a cop movie that they copied like every cop movies from the 80s and 90s. And the third one was like End of the World with aliens and then
And they were really, really shit faced the whole movie.
yeah. And then
Like
he
the
did
characters. I don't know if they were in real life.
Edgar
Real
Wright
life.
also directed Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's based on a comic. It was pretty crazy. And then the Baby Driver.
Baby
I
Driver.
wasn't a fan of Scott Pilgrim.
I like parts of
So
it.
you have Netflix then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever watch Death Note? This was one of the things I actually
No, it
had
just
written
came
down.
out, right?
Well, no, there was the anime show, and then
No.
there was a Japanese film version,
Okay.
and then now just this last Friday they released the Netflix movie, which
Did you
was
watch all of them?
I watched the anime and the first Japanese movie, and I thought I really liked it. I liked the concept. For those of you who don't know the concept, a kid finds a book, and after he finds the book, a demon named Ryuk comes to him and says, you write somebody's name in the book and how do you want them to die, and they will die. And he basically gets to play God, so to speak, or death. Yeah, he gets to play death. And that's what the story is about. And he goes on a massive killing spree, killing lots and lots of people. And
You gonna watch a new one?
I did watch the new one,
Oh, you did?
and
Okay.
I liked it. It was a lot different than what people who like. It was a lot different than the anime and the other version. And people are just throwing like, dude, just nerds. God, they just don't they just
Are you reading the comments again?
don't they just no? Like I'm talking about like I do read like articles and things like that. And sometimes reviews, which can be
Bias.
just a big comment, like a big shitty comment, like, but usually they're people who write for a living or, like, God forbid, blog. But, just people just hate stuff.
People
And
just hate stuff.
if it's not what you want, you hate it. Like just this last season of Game of Thrones, I liked it. I thought it was great. It had its flaws, but everything has its flaws. I found flaws in Breaking Bad, and that's people say it's the greatest show of all time. And I think it was amazing. It was so entertaining. It was great. Just like this last season of Game of Thrones, but people will find a reason to bitch about anything. If it's anything you don't like, if it isn't exactly the way that you would have done it, it's trash.
Right.
And that is just the way people view everything these days. And I just
People will learn to complain about anything that isn't a perfect experience the entire time, and nothing is a perfect experience the entire time. So you're like,
there you go.
they're yeah-butting the hell out of everything.
Do you like Game of Thrones? I've never watched it.
I watched it. I'm not the guy to ask. Again,
Okay.
it's not
Okay.
for. It's good. It is good. It's just not for me.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's not good. Like I watched like the first 2 seasons of Breaking Bad. I'll get back to it eventually. That's just my particular taste. Like I said, I Game of Thrones is cool. At some point, like they keep killing my favorite characters, so I was like, eh. And so I usually wait till like the season's done, and then I'll just go through it real quick. And then all the hype dies down. It's what's crazy now is there's certain shows like Game of Thrones is one of them, Walking Dead is one of them. I don't know, I'm not sure which other ones. Where if you don't watch that while it's on TV, 20 seconds after it's on TV, if you dare to get on the internet, somebody's going to ruin it for you.
A lot of spoilers.
A lot of the spoilers, and I have an opinion on the spoilers.
They'll even put a picture of like the tag will be, oh, this episode is good, but so and so died. You won't believe who it was, and they'll put their picture on the.
Nerds.
See, both of you guys are shaking your head, but I have an opinion. I think it's a special kind of entitlement to believe that. And again, this is one of those opinions that is mine and mine alone. It's a special kind of entitlement to think that people can't talk about something simply because you haven't watched it yet.
That's a good point.
That is a
You
good
know what I
point.
mean? And now, obviously, there is the people say, well, the 24-hour grace period, the 48-hour grace period. I've heard people say you can't talk about it for a week. And,
Well, you just ask, hey, have you watched that show? Have you seen that movie?
no, I won't talk.
And then
no.
you don't bring up the end.
No, if I'm in a group
Or you're a
and
dick.
somebody's like, I haven't seen it, I'm not going to do it. But if I'm trolling around on Facebook or whatever, and I see somebody posted a picture of something that happened, or a Game of Thrones site will post something like an article, and they'll have spoilers in it or whatever, and people will always, here we go, back to the comments, right? People will always comment, you dick, I haven't seen it yet. It's like, well, dude, it aired 5 days ago. If you haven't watched it,
Yeah.
you really don't give a shit. Like, so stop.
I get annoyed, but I understand. So
People
it's my problem.
want to talk about it. It's not just Game of Thrones, it's everything. People
There's
want to
people that get mad if you spoil like something that was made in the 80s. I mean, come on.
oh my god, I'm watching that. I just started that. Why'd you have to tell me that?
It's crazy to me. I mean, a lot of people keep up with their shows, but to be that dedicated, like at that time to get there and watch it, like
It's a thing now.
and that it's always been a thing. But
Yeah.
I just, my personal life, I just don't make time. I don't make the time to do that.
I don't do it. I don't do it with any show except that one. Like Walking Dead, like sometimes I won't I'll have it on the DVR for like days. And if excuse me, all that LaCroix, dude. all that LaCroix. I just burped up some
Just threw up all
some
over the
pample
floor.
burps.
Pampaloons. Yeah, like I'll be on Facebook, whatever, and I know better. Like if somebody's gonna go, oh, Carl or Rick did this, and Negan this, and so and Sasha that, and it's like, well, I knew better, and so I only have myself to blame. I'm not gonna say, hey, you guys can't talk about this on social media because I, Vince Romero, haven't watched it yet, and I think that's kind of a dickish thing. And some people would say, well, it's dickish for you to talk about it in public, and well,
Some stuff I think people know what they're doing, and again, I complain about it and I don't like it, but it's not going to change. I watched the first 5 episodes of Westworld. I think it's amazing. When the show got done, like that morning, the show was done, and I get on my phone. When I get on my phone, I Google, I hit entertainment because I want to know what new movies are coming out. I want to know if something, I don't need to know about storyline or anything like that. And it was a review. I'm scrolling through, and it was a review of the last episode of Westworld for this season, and I didn't look at it, but they picked a particular picture that spoils the entire season.
It's just trolling at
It's a
new
particular
level.
picture, and I know that it came out, and I know
better.
it's my problem.
See, they knew better.
They know that writer
Yeah.
knows what they're doing. Like, you know that picture. There's 1,000 other pictures you could pick. You pick
Yeah.
the one that's going to actually spoil. So
Was it like Tandy Newton in the suit?
no.
Are you
Oh.
spoiling right
Did
now?
you just
bro?
spoil it?
Are you just spoiling right now?
I don't care. Like, when I saw that thing, I was like, God damn it. And
What was it a picture of? Because I
don't-
saw it.
I haven't seen it, so I guess I should also backtrack and say I'm not even sure if it is a spoiler.
No, fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
it's what's his face for that he's done some cameos on Always Sunny. He's a McPoyle.
I
He
love the
played-
McPoyles.
he played-
Okay, yeah. I know what
So
you're talking about.
and then Ed Harris.
Jimmy Simpson is his name in real
Okay,
life.
so Ed Harris is wearing. So he's wearing Ed Harris in the picture. He's just wearing Ed Harris's black hat, and I'm like, you motherfucker.
The McPoyles,
So it is a
I
spoiler,
love
right?
them.
It
you,
is.
you want me to answer?
I mean, it is
Don't
right.
spoil on our podcast, bro.
Okay.
We'll cut it out. But it
I
is.
don't-
And
do
we
it-
just
do
we
whatever
just
you want, I don't
confirmed in
care.
silence. It's been out for almost a year now.
See, that's the
I'm
thing.
gonna watch it since one of the McPoyles.
You
are in
can't.
there.
He's a main character.
I love that guy.
That's
Which
not a
one?
spoiler. He's
Which one? The blonde-haired one?
The one
In
the
Westworld.
one that was like, we're gonna get in the helicopter and like it is.
He's so good on
He
that
showed up
show.
with milk. Remember? They're weird.
They all had the milk mustaches, dude. Even the
in the
sister.
robes.
In the sister.
And they like threw a party and people were doing heroin or something. Remember that skit? Like, dude, is she shooting up heroin in here? Like at the bar? Remember that?
Oh, that was the episode where
It's always
they said no rules.
no rules.
You can do whatever you want, and it was like it was kind of advocating for government control because like at the end of the episode, it's like, dude, see what happens? You don't have rules, people shoot up heroin at
So
the bar. Like,
extreme.
it's like you got to have rules, man. You got to have ground rule. You got to have your baseline. Otherwise, people wind up doing that shit. And so
Just like how they would always just show up all creepy. They were good characters. The McPoyles.
they were when they took the gang, as they call it, when they took him hostage in the bar, that was the best. And
That was the best.
Dennis tried to sleep with the sister in the
Yeah.
in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And after he kissed her, he told her that her breath tasted so milky. It was just creepy and just, oh god, that show.
Yeah, that show. You turned me on to that years ago, and the
like
first
10 years ago. That
right?
show's been on forever.
the first 3 seasons were good, and then like I was into it, and then it came on, and I just I don't know. It was probably the 4th season. I was like, this sucks.
It got really dumb when Mac intentionally got fat and then got skinny again. And
You could just tell they were running out of ideas because they had some the story, like all the writing was great.
my
The
buddy
first
said he
3.
still watches it and said that it got a lot better. And they kind of went back to old school where they just basically just bashed the crap out of each other the whole episode, just do ridiculous stuff. But it had its run. It's been on forever. It is what it is. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Good stuff.
That's good stuff. All right.
So you're watching Game of Thrones? What else? Any movies?
Okay. Well, I watched Death Note, the movie, and I liked it.
So check that out. That's when you're.
Like I said, the nerds hated it because it wasn't identical.
What did you
to
like?
the-
Did you like
I
it?
liked it. I liked it.
Okay.
I thought Willem Dafoe plays the demon, and
Okay.
he's got that. Now, obviously, it's not him. It's CGI. The demon CGI, halfway decent
It's
CGI.
the voice of William
And he's
Dafoe.
the voice, and he's got that
I love
voice.
William
Yeah,
Dafoe.
he's such a great actor.
He's
man.
awesome.
He's such a good character actor. Whether he's playing like a sinister demon or a good guy, he's just a great actor.
Was he in Deer Hunter or no?
Mm.
No, that was
no. No, he was on Platoon.
yeah, Platoon. He was really good in Boondock Saints too, and he was the FBI
Yeah, he was.
guy. Yeah, that was a good character.
What else?
He's been around. Yeah, William
Shows?
Dafoe's awesome.
Shows. There's a lot of stuff on that I try to catch up.
Oh, remember
on.
when he was Bobby? We were talking David Lynch. He was Bobby Peru.
Is that
and,
in the one with Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern?
Yeah.
What was that called?
I
Young
mean,
at
he's
Heart.
Crazy. Yeah, Young at Heart.
Crazy Heart. Or no.
Got to Google that one real quick.
I
Well,
will.
Blue Velvet, and then it was the blonde from Jurassic Park and Nicolas Cage. It's something Love and Heart, but yeah, Bobby Peru. That was William Dafoe, and that is a very, very creepy character. So definitely check out that movie. What is it? Lonely Heart.
Jesus, what? How you spell
Yeah.
Willem?
William Dafoe. But yeah, Bobby Peru, he's a good villain. He's got the creepiest teeth ever. Definitely check that out. But
So, Joe, any movies?
no, I'm not really hip on the movie scene.
Okay.
You know, like it's something I need to be referred to, and then I'll check it out.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I am going to go to the movies Saturday, the first time in a while, and we're going to check out It. I am excited for that.
Yeah, me too.
Because I love Stephen King. I'm not really big on the 80s redo, the thing with horror, but that looks pretty awesome.
It does look creepy.
It looks really creepy. So that's the next movie I'm going to check out. So we'll definitely talk about that. Are you going to check it out too? How long has it been
Wild
out?
at Heart.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart.
Bobby Peru and Wild at Heart. That's my favorite character.
He had that ridiculous mustache.
Paper-thin mustache.
Yeah, dude.
Bobby Peru.
It was
don't
almost
come up
like,
for
what's his
air.
name? John Waters? No, who's the director?
That's
like
his name.
Hairspray.
Yeah, that's his name.
It was almost that like John
Creepy,
Waters
paper-thin.
mustache, dude.
And he had the
Yeah.
worst teeth in
Yeah,
that
he
movie.
did. He had some yuck mouth going on.
Yuck mouth. That butter grin.
So I'm gonna to close it off. I want to play this game real quick.
Okay.
So I want either one of you to name one emotion, whatever that is: sad, happy, pissed, angry. That's all I could think of right now. Something. Name one, each one of you guys.
Fear.
And then- fear.
Bliss.
Bliss. All right. Now, I'll give you a minute to think about it. Say you're in the car. This is the scenario I'm setting up for you to close out. It's a musical question. First one is you're in your car and you're afraid. Doesn't really work, but you're in your car, you're afraid. What song do you play? That's the first one. Second one is you're in your car. You're having a wonderful night or you're having a wonderful day and you get in your car. Sun is out. You happen to be driving your convertible. So you roll that bad boy down and you start driving, and for some reason it's going to take you an hour to get home. You're driving through a bunch of farmland. It's beautiful outside, sunny day. What song do you play? So either one. Maybe I could do the other scenario better. Like maybe you just left a haunted house.
Are we answering based on our emotion or both?
No, what would you recommend? It's you. You're in the car.
No, I'm saying is so.
What do you mean?
Should
The
I
good day or the
what
bad
song?
day?
Yeah, I'm picking the fear, right?
Both.
Oh, okay. I know the one for fear. Bliss. I don't know. You say you're gonna give us a minute.
I would say Bliss.
Bliss is Mr. Sandman. Bum 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 bum.
It's a
I
really
can't say
chill song, but the song's actually called Natalie Portman, and it's performed by Team Sleep. That's a really
It's a good track. By
it's
the way.
it's
a
slow.
really good track. It is.
It's chill.
That'll put your ass to sleep.
That's like that's like candlelight in a bathtub, and you're just
bottle of vino.
chilling. Yeah, that's a good song though, because I know it was just like a B-side. But whenever I want to chill out like that, I'll listen to Natalie Portman by
Nice.
Team Sleep, and then
I know it's random. The fear one's hard.
No, it wasn't
nobody's
hard for
like,
me.
oh man, I'm so scared. Let me.
No, I
so how
Would
does
I'm
fear
sorry.
for me is easy.
Oh, what'd you say then?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay,
You've
okay.
been talking to Joe.
Okay.
but yeah, what was the scenario for fear again? Like
Just you're scared. You're frightened. You're trying
You're
to
frightened
get out.
and
yeah.
you want to what's your soundtrack for Frightened?
Slaughtered by Pantera.
See, mine's Walking on Sunshine by Safe Ferris.
Mm.
Yeah, I want something extreme. If I'm scared, I don't want to chill. I want something to get me through it. That's just me.
Is that your?
Did I say Walking on Sunshine?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
No,
dude.
Come On Eileen by Safe Ferris. That's what I meant. I don't know.
Okay.
And for like if I'm having like a blissful, happy day, I don't know, probably
I do that too. That's
Power
weird. Like,
Power Shifter off Mechanized by Fear Factory.
okay.
I'm a big like faster the double bass the better, and that was Gene Holgram playing drums. So
good mood that gets me hyped to like go out to is some Run the Jewels. Everybody needs to check out Run the Jewels. It's great.
I've been listening to that song Gold in the
By
morning
Run the Jewels?
on my way to
Okay.
work. I got stuck in traffic twice.
Am I sleep
You're
on this?
everybody. If you've never heard of Run the Jewels, like you have a problem.
I have a Run the Jewels story, and as you guys can both tell, like my musical knowledge is extremely limited. But my brother turned me on to Run the Jewels, and then I watched a Tiny Desk on YouTube concert where it was just the two of them run the jewels in a library. I've watched so many Killer Mike interviews. I watched him interview
fine.
Bernie Sanders, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. My brother turned me on to them beginning a year ago, and then I kind of got into them 6 months ago. Last week in traffic, did I make the connection that was Killer Mike? I didn't know
you
either
never
one.
knew.
I had no idea. I was like, this dude sounds like Killer Mike.
He's a good rapper.
And then I was like, I felt so stupid. That's my story.
Okay. Yeah, you've never heard of Run the Jewels, Vince?
No, never. But I'd like to change my answer back to
Oh, here we go.
to break free by the artificial intelligence.
No.
No.
Wah, wah.
I was going to say that was a good spot to end it.
That was.
I'm going to end it.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys.